This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Thanks.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, you know. It's new champions in the house, and we have a guest of epic proportions that I've been waiting a long time to get on here, and someone whose work I've been a fan of from afar. Proud of what she's done, how she's done it her way. Business is often stood on with this young lady, and she's here ready to get in the booth, you know, pretty much. And you know, I'm gonna just get out of the way. Lyric Swinton, what's going on? Of Maps and Graps.
You know, I'm happy to be here. Like you said, I'm happy to be in the booth, always standing on business, you know. But no, seriously, it's great to be on this show. Been one of the podcast stops I've been wanting to make for a very long time. I admire what you guys do over here, so I'm excited.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. We very much appreciate it. Like, if Rich had got out the way, I would have did my introduction for Lyric. Do you want to hear it? You want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So, do y'all remember when James Brown had Michael Jackson and Prince both at the same place at the same time, and he wanted to bring Michael on stage, and he's like, Michael Jackson. Well, here we are. We have Lyric Swin. How you doing? Come to the stage.
I love it.
You know what? You can't beat that as an intro. Thank you for that. You can't beat that. That's undefeated right there.
I thought about it earlier today. I busted out dying laughing.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Thank you for that.
No problem. All right, so man. Do we just go straight to the pay-per-view? Straight to pay-per-view. Initial thoughts first, and then we go through it, or what do you want to do?
I mean, you know, I was there in person. I did a show with Dave Finishow, kind of recapping kind of what I thought. So I kind of wanted to up the ante for tonight and all that, and get you guys like kind of what you guys thought. But you know, live it was epic. It was the best show I've ever attended in my life. And yeah, I guess we should start right there at the top. Appreciate everybody that is joining us. You know, it's filling up in this bitch.
Yo. So, Lyric, do you want to go first? What are your initial thoughts on the show?
I loved it. I honestly, I felt like that show really was a wake-up call for me. I don't think I realized, like, and I tweeted this, I don't think I realized how much of the daily discourse on the internet really kind of seeps into you when it's constantly negative nonstop. And it kind of if you're not careful, it can really seep into you, like keep you from actually enjoying the thing that you actually came here for, which is wrestling. And so Dynasty was a great recentering experience to like, of why I love wrestling, what wrestling is all about, top to bottom, excellent wrestling card. It's in my top 5 AEW pay-per-views, which is saying a lot because Revolution was excellent, but this one was fantastic. Just about everything delivered as much as I expected it to. Some places even exceeded. So I can't ask for much more than that. And plus, even the women really showed out. Toni and Rosa was really kind of blew me away, which I wasn't expecting. Toni top to bottom, I can't really ask for much more than what I got, except for the Jericho stuff. But
Yeah. So I thought this was a great show. I'm probably gonna have to rewatch it. Was just saying something because there's too much wrestling out there. I don't rewatch much, but like it's called for because I was drunk when I was watching it, so I had to rewatch it. So, but anyway, yeah, super fun show, and as you mentioned, Larry, like the constant being online part of the discourse with the fandom is just like this. The app thrives on negativity. So all you see so much negativity, and it does seep into you. And like for me, I know that. So at times I can just kind of check it with myself and be like, "Am I enjoying this? Or what is it that I'm not enjoying about this?" And except for the episode that had the Punk footage from Wembley, I have enjoyed the build and the shows on Dynamite on a week-to-week basis on a consistent level, except for that one show. So I was, I think this is one of the better pay-per-view cycles they ever had from Revolution 2 here at Dynasty. So like, I wasn't really too thrown off by it, but like there's so much negativity going on because like both companies are doing very fucking well in their own right. So like people are so stuck on the tribalism part that like naturally if WWE's doing one, the AEW therefore has to be doing badly, which is like bullshit. But people have to feel like it's this either or, it can't just be both. So yeah, we definitely have felt that, and obviously the WrestleMania PR run that was going
the shootout
was nuts from 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. So yeah, it was definitely
Magento activity.
But yeah, like this pay-per-view goes to show you like what we experienced, except for basically one episode of Dynamite, was not a con job. This is what they've been doing weeks and weeks and weeks, and is more proof that like we are in a position right now. We have two well-run promotions that give their fans, the majority of their fans, what they want at this point in time. And this is a good time to be at right now because we ain't had it since like 1998.
Yeah. I was born.
There you go.
Look at that. But yeah, man, like I just in person, it was such an electric crowd. Like you would think, like with everything that happened on that show, by the time the main event came, that the crowd might be a little bit fatigued or anything like that. But like as Swerve was making his entrance, I looked around, I was like, yo, this crowd's alive. This is what they came for. Like as great as Danielson and Ospreay, and we'll get to that later, as great as that was, like this night was centered around Swerve Strickland finally climbing the mountaintop, coming out here, proving the detractors wrong. I got packs for several bums and corny sounding motherfuckers left and right on the internet. I started letting them have it on Twitter yesterday, and I'm going to unleash on these suckers, lames, and bums. Absolute bums. But before we do that, just overall, just like, I enjoyed the show from like, kind of a front row seat. Just you notice how good some of these wrestlers are up close in ways that don't always like come through on the television. Okada was just like at another level. It was just great, man. I had such a great time, and I was fortunate enough to be backstage pretty much most of the day before the show. Got to slap fives with a lot of people, and kind of say what's up, and just talk to folks and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. And then after I slapped fives with the Scapegoat too, and I ended my night having a drink with Chris Jericho. So it was a lot that went on. So I'm ready to get to the review. We should probably start at the 10 op.
Okay, you want to start at the top? Then let's go. AEW World Title match: Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland. This match was very good. This match was, if you want to say great, I'm not going to argue with you. I thought that, it had a lot of struggle, or it was put in a bad situation having to follow those two matches before it, given, match of the year, possible front runner. Also, another match that's going to have a huge implication for the future of the company and kind of bringing the status quo by bringing Jack Perry back after he's been gone for so long. But the time was there. The crowd was into it. The crowd wanted it. The crowd expected it. The crowd got what it deserved. The crowd was very happy. It got what it deserved. And the thing that kind of stuck with me was at the end of it, like Swerve's champion. They let out the pyro, and it's like, wow, we when he signed, 26, 27 months ago, I did not foresee him being the AEW World Champion in that short of a span of time. But we are here, and it's because of the work that he has put in. And I think that we're off to the races right now with a great champion to kind of get us further away from what happened with MJF at the back half of 2023 and onward and upward. And like I think that Samoa Joe did very well given his limitations at his age and the stage of the game in his career.
Lyric?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a great match, but it was very good. And I don't think that it had to be a great match. Like after that card, you are really lucky that if the fans are still awake after that card. And the fact is, and Abu said this on Backup Hangman's side, but he was just saying, like, just noticing that after some of the most exhilarating matches, that crowd stuck around for Swerve. Like they didn't care really about the match or anything. They stuck around because it was important for them to see him get crowned. And I think that just said that's just a testament to just how invested the fan base was in seeing him winning. And so, like, honestly, was it his best performance in AEW? No. Was it Joe's best performance in AEW? No. But the match did what it needed to do. Like you said, I think that Samoa Joe's title reign, and I really want people to never say the word transitional champion again. If I never see that phrase on Twitter again, it'll still be too soon, because Samoa Joe is living proof that a title run does not have to be a year long to be meaningful. Like him holding that belt for 4 or 5 months single-handedly changed the direction of the entire company. So I think that before we just start getting all up in arms about this transitional champion words, I think like it depends on the artist. And John Moxley says it all the time. The man makes the belt doesn't make the man. So it's just, it really does depend on the type of champion you are. You can have a memorable reign that lasts 2 weeks, or it could be 2 years. So I'm interested to see what happens next. Obviously, we are it seems like we're on the path to All In with Swerve facing Kyle Fletcher tomorrow. And I think it's going to be very interesting. More history is going to be made. So yeah, about the match, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I was front row, and this was a very classic story of pretty much big man versus small guy. Aggressive monster heel kind of takes it to him, and then is the crowd with the babyface at the end. And I feel like we got a solid answer on that with how everybody came alive. And I just looked at the joy that was in the arena, and from the people that were close to Swerve, the people that were just in the crowd. There was just so much love in the building. And, you contrast that with, some of the bullshit we see online from corny motherfuckers like OG Johnny 5, who I've had blocked for half a decade on Twitter. Who else? Stephanie Hypes, Hardy. We don't care. You're not holding nothing back. The cheese board guy. You're wrong about everything else. Don't let us stop you, Chief. Stat guy Greg, I don't think the numbers are adding up for you. Alejandro, the New Japan reply guy, get fucked. Get the fuck out of here. Young Kings Wrestling, you'll never wear the crown. We're not worried about none of y'all. There's more people to name. I haven't looked them all up. I've been a little busy. But there are a lot of people that came out here and sold out, about Swerve Strickland. And on this show, I believe we had a clip in November of 2022 where we were asked, what is Swerve's ceiling in this? And never, and I mean never, in the history of this show have we been so correct. I don't like to take victory laps, too often. I'm not that kind of guy. But I got.
You don't need to lie during the middle of your rant. Go continue.
I got 2 packs no Shakur for all these suckers and clowns that Swerve was reposting because he saved all those receipts. And when AEW started, it was crazy because AEW wanted Swerve from the beginning. There was, some type of mix up. I can't really, get into. I don't know all the details, but he didn't, end up coming in at the beginning. He ended up coming in when he came in. And as James mentioned, inside of 27 months or so, he came out here and put it together. He did things in the company that other people weren't willing to do, which is make other people look good, which was go out there and be a good soldier. And also remember the name of the game in this business, which is getting over. You don't have to go over to get over. And he just slowly rose up the ladder, as, many people you want to bring up that, had a chance to do it. They didn't. They didn't come from NXT with that same attitude. They didn't come elsewhere with the same level of performance. So when I look at Swerve, now as the champion, I think he is just, I'm personally so happy for him. Like everybody knows, I'm, pretty cool with him and, been a friend of his for years. And this is just a joyous moment to see AEW's first black world champion, because that was something that it was almost like you would have thought it was a crime that it didn't happen inside of a month, inside of 6 months, inside of a year. And there was a lot of, detractors on the promotion strictly for that. And we know not all of that was in good faith. We know a lot of that stuff was horse manure that they were doing. And I want to give Lyric an opportunity to jump, on this, because a lot of this comes down to, dumb tribalism, wrapping themselves in WWE as, the black company. If it doesn't happen in WWE, it doesn't matter. It only took AEW 5 years. I wish I could say the same for everyone else. Floor is yours, Lyric.
Thank you. I was about to say, is this the part where we're having this conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just go ahead and get into it. This is how I feel. I don't think anybody has to particularly like Swerve. That's not what I'm pushing for. I don't care personally. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know these people personally. Don't really care. Like, everybody's really entitled to feel how they feel. Like, if you don't like them, cool. This is what I have a problem with. People who know good and well that they don't actually watch AEW, saying, oh, I wish I could congratulate Swerve right now, but insert this, that, and the third. First of all, you didn't care. You guys don't actually care. Do you want to know why? Because I have been screaming into a microphone for years that y'all don't care about black wrestlers unless they're in WWE. And that's simply the truth, because guess what? Everybody has all this to say about Swerve, but guess what? Willow Nightingale is this perfect, amazing angel, and y'all didn't want to give her flowers neither when she wanted. You want to know why? Because you don't acknowledge accomplishments that don't happen in WWE. And this centering of WWE has, you know what? Everybody should go listen to The Voice's flagship. Joe Lanza broke it all down. It's a PR thing. Whatever. But also, a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. And unfortunately, as a 5-year-old company, AEW will never have nostalgia to sell. And my thing is that if we talk about black wrestling needs to make progress, black wrestlers need to make progress, black wrestling needs to move forward, I just don't understand how that is actually going to happen if all of the eggs are in one basket of one company who is still doing the bare minimum. Like, literally doing the bare minimum. And I don't know a nice way to say this, but it's like so many people are fighting over literal crumbs. Even if you don't like Swerve, you should like what he stood for. Because guess what? The idea of Swerve is that a black free agent went into a company and they had a plan for him. You see these companies, when they get free agents, well, like when WWE gets a Cody or when AEW gets a Will Ospreay, real free agents, top level free agents have plans made for them when they walk through the door. A company looked at a black wrestler and said, we are going to build you up into a main event world champion from scratch. And we're not going to take 10 years to do it. That alone, whether you like Swerve or him personally, just the idea that could happen for a black wrestler, that should excite you. That should be celebrated. Because how many times in the very brief history that there have been black world champions, guess what? It's the here nigga damn title. And they are 10, 15 years into a contract. And it's just like, okay, We got a break between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. You can keep the belt for a little bit.
It's football season.
Until Brock come back. I'm gonna need you to let go of that, boss. I'm gonna need you to let go of that in a squash match. We have seen Black people humiliated, degraded, and treated like the absolute scum of the earth. But for some reason, I just don't get it. Like, and it's not just me standing up for AEW. You do this to literally every Black wrestler in every other promotion that's not WWE. You say Japan doesn't matter. Mexico doesn't matter. None of these other promotions matter. So I don't get it. And I think now more than ever, it's just I would rather people just be honest about what they're actually against. Some people genuinely don't like Swerve. Like I said, that is totally cool. But we're not having a conversation about Swerve. Let's just be real. I want people to be honest. We are having a conversation about wrestling and race and how Black people have this long indoctrinated connection to WWE to where they can't see anything else. That's what the real conversation is about here. And I just think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for all the Black wrestlers, because I've heard from Black wrestlers flat out say, like, I don't think anybody cares about me or my matches because I'm not in WWE. And I'm sure many of us have heard it. And I use the analogy, for example, last night on Keeks' show about Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin came up in shout out to Keeks. Shelton Benjamin came up in this superstar draft class, right? John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar. He's the only one who doesn't have a world championship, right? Everybody says that Shelton Benjamin, he can't talk. He has no charisma. But guess what? They didn't stick him in Evolution with the Hall of Fame faction. No, they gave him a mammy character and a house dress. And like, for example, I think that was one of the things that I think was one of Swerve's weaknesses. Talking is not his best strength. But guess what? AEW found him the best manager in the world, built a faction around him. All the tools that are typically given to white wrestlers to make them stars, Swerve was given those same advantages. And the fact that people don't understand, like, this is so much bigger than any one person, this is supposed to be opening the doors for, we talk about free agency and contracts and like equity. Guess what? Black wrestlers get none of that pie. And when we really want to break it down, people want to talk about, hey, Mercedes is the highest paid female wrestler. I'm willing to bet she's the highest paid Black wrestler as well. Not named Dwayne Johnson. Because he don't. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar she is the highest paid. Because guess what? I just don't understand. I feel like we're fighting for crumbs. And when you see somebody get a world title over here, you just say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so when is your next Black world champion going to happen in WWE?
2028?
Well, it'll be like, well, that belt that's like the secondary belt that they have on the second show, on the B show, they'll prop that up. That's what they'll do.
It's not even just that. It's like, great example, right? Because I don't watch WWE outside of big shows, right? But every single big show, I've always heard, oh my gosh, Montez Ford is up next. He done got in the booth. He done got swole up. He's an amazing athlete. He can talk. Does all the PR loops. Mm-hmm. He does all of the things.
The reality show.
And guess what? He's still in the same position. We still saying he's up next.
He's standing behind Bobby Lashley.
It's downgraded. It's gotten worse. Because now he's in a faction, these ladies, and he's like one of three instead of just one of two before.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, like, my personal thing is like, I am no longer interested in up next. I want to see up now. Same thing, and we can even bring it back to Bianca, because people want to call Bianca the female Cena. Well, guess what? Does John Cena go undefeated at WrestleMania and end up in a 6-minute, 6-woman tag team match? No. Surrounded by fried chicken? No.
Right.
And I think that Bianca Belair is the hardest working person in professional wrestling. Like, what she does, making her gear, always on the road, always doing media stops, reality shows, doing all the house shows, doing all the TVs, showing up to every pay-per-view, and maintaining a home life, she's absolutely phenomenal. But it's very clear that it doesn't see, where are their priorities? People, like black people, they put all the black people in one match, two matches, one for the men, one for the women at WrestleMania. That's not progress to me.
And it ain't even just the black wrestlers. They put all the Mexicans in the Mexican match, and then they put the Modelo spiked in the background too. Like they put the black people with the gin and juice in the chicken.
Agua frescas.
They literally organize everybody by ads and race.
Now, go ahead. Continue your point.
I was gonna say, and my thing is, if that floats your boat, that is fine. I think now more than ever, what I'm most grateful for is that wrestling has options. I don't gotta watch nothing I don't like. You ain't gotta watch nothing y'all don't like. But guess what? I don't sit on Twitter on Mondays and Friday nights and on weekends being like, how do y'all watch this shit? How do y'all do this? I let y'all go in peace.
Running smear campaigns on people.
Exactly. Running full smear campaigns, because guess what? When you really don't care, people who are truly unbothered don't gotta like tweet about, well, I would support if. Right. A lot of people's like, and the thing is, I've seen people say stuff like, oh my gosh, if AEW puts more into this timeless Toni character, I think I might watch more. Guess what? She's on TV every week talking all the time, and nobody's ever picked it up. Like, just lying. Yep. Enough.
Lying. Enough.
Like, genuinely enough.
Cut the shit.
It's okay to not like it. It's okay to not like it. I think we should just be more just be more honest. I feel like some people feel like they have to cover AEW. Just like I feel like some people feel like they have to cover WWE. I knew I couldn't be one of those people. I just think that people just should be honest. And we're never going to have a legitimate conversation about race and wrestling because people don't want to tell the truth that they don't care about there being more options.
Right.
They don't care about it. And you know, this is my last point. Then I'm gonna let it go. But I go back to like Brian Keith, right? And all these hashtags of like, sign Brian Keith. And how many black wrestlers have we seen that happen to? And people are like, oh, sign him. But when they sign to the company that you didn't want them to sign to, or the company that you wanted that didn't want them. And so now that they're actually signed, the support just poofs. It's very transactional.
Yeah.
It's very transactional. And it trickles down not just to the wrestlers, but the content creators. I've been told to my face. I've been told that, listen, going to Wembley, Tokyo, all that don't matter because you haven't covered the Royal Rumble yet. Or you haven't gotten WWE credentials yet. I've been told that to my face. I've been told that, oh, your work doesn't matter because you pick and choose. Just like y'all pick and choose? Seriously? I'm sure we'll get more into this, but that's all I have to say for right now.
James, okay. You've been waiting patient.
So before, because I got a prop joke. So as we talked about the Modelo Agua Frescas, we said like, picking and choosing or whatever else. Like, hey, you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, I told Rich and the rest of the some of the folks at Social Suplex Network, like, hey man, I was in Target and they fucking got me. Goddamn AAA agent got me.
Listen, how much it cost?
It's like a 16 pack for like, I don't know, $16, something like that. This shit's good.
Hey, listen, Modelo be hitting. Hey, listen, I ain't got nothing against it.
Right.
I ain't got nothing. That no problem.
Right. So it's a long story. I will say for off air, but like, yeah, I was looking for something else and I couldn't find what I was looking for. But Modelo basically had effectively the same version of what I was looking for, and I was like, you know what? Do I really want to get this after what happened at WrestleMania? You know what? Forget it. I'll do it for the joke. So
why not?
Yeah. So then one of them asked me like, "You gonna get so Simon asked, are you gonna get Wingstop for lunch?" And I did, just could do it for the joke, just to get the joke. So I'm shameless. I'm weak. I am weak. I'm sorry. I'm easily please don't do personalized ads. I will spend all money on the shit you send me. Don't do it. I'm a mark. So man, it's a lot. You covered a lot. You said a lot of things that I personally just this is part of the things we've been saying on this show for years. At this point, over a decade. And like the picking and choosing, like just be honest and like just say, hey, I ain't got the time. And you know, when Mercedes came over, and we had it clipped up. It's on YouTube. I said the same thing. Like, look, like y'all be acting uppity and too good for all this shit. Like, if if this is the person you really are a fan of, or whatever else, stick around. And if you enjoy whatever, and hopefully there's something else you enjoy. But I ain't gonna pretend you and turn up your nose at this. Because look, I was one of y'all. When we first started the show, I was one of y'all. I was like, I'm not watching anything like this. Now I've you know how many shows I've watched in like 540 H or A or not even HD in SD, right? Watching in Shinjuku's face or Shinkiba, like come on, like that's just the revolution of it. So I understand where you're from. It just I've been there before. I happen to have more information than you. I've been down a journey, if you will, towards finding a wrestling I've liked, and I've been tried it open in in good faith. I don't think these people are willing to try in good faith, and this is what you've been talking. This is what you're talking about, like. These people aren't trying in good faith, so like, why should we pay attention to what y'all got to say?
100%.
Yeah,
I used to be like them too. That's the thing. See? I think all three of us. Most people if you grew up watching wrestling in North America, 9 times out of 10, your origin comes from WWE. We all grew up on it,
right?
But there's a significant, and I think specifically for my generation, like I said, I'm 26. I was born in 1998, so like when WCW folded, I was like 3. So like for my generation specifically, people genuinely don't know a life outside of one company. And I used to be one of those ignorant people who believed everything that was told to me of just, well, this is the only thing that matters. And New Japan is an indie. And I've never revealed this about myself before, but before I started watching Japanese wrestling, I remember getting a glimpse at a PWI list. And
who the fuck are these people?
I saw no, it wasn't even that. It was just like I saw Kenny Omega ranked over Roman Reigns. I said, "Who the fuck is that?" And it's so crazy because like now, like I'm like obsessed. Like that's like my favorite wrestler of all time, Kenny Omega. But like I said, I used to be one of those ignorant people, and so like I understand. But it comes a time, and this is going to be even crazier thing. But might as well take it there. Especially in the light of the Vince lawsuit. And the reason why I say this is because what people have to realize is whether you like it or not, you have been indoctrinated with information, depending on when you entered as a wrestling fan. I've been a fan for almost 18 years. So like for most of my life, my view of wrestling was made in the image of a sexual predator and creep.
Right. He art-toured, he curated. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing is, even whether you believe the allegations or not, guess what? You know what you can believe, which you can know for a fact.
The content on the screen.
Literally, the nigga been weird. Like, let's not act like giving birth to hands and shit. I look back into where I had a pretty sheltered childhood. So much of what I learned about sex and innuendo came from wrestling. Because of the crazy stuff that I saw on screen. And like, that is quite literally true. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, for a while, it was a TV-14 product, like, whatever. But let's not act, it was never normal. And that's why I'm so passionate about the current state of women's wrestling. Because if we don't keep pushing for more aggression, more stiffer product, more violence, there is an active movement to go back to an era when girls were just looking pretty.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, regression to the progression. Which
and my thing is also, it's one of those things to where I feel like this. I feel like so many, when you teach young boys early that when they grow up, women literally fight and rip each other's clothes off, and it's just everything in wrestling revolves around a man, to the point where when they finally become adults, they feel cheated. Because what do you mean everybody's working now? Like, what do you mean like these girls are actually here to work? Like so many of these men literally feel cheated. Like, why did it have to not be my turn by the time I got grown up? And
that sounds very similar to the way dudes talk about how they like, what happened to sticking through marriages. Like, oh, because people ain't slaves, because these women ain't slaves no more, fool.
Literally.
Your grandma was a slave. Your grandma got married at 15 to a 25-year-old.
Absolutely. Because you got to think, women couldn't even open up bank accounts until the 70s by themselves?
Right, slave.
Exactly. And so it's just one of those things of, especially now, I feel in the midst of the suit, a lot of people are doubling down. Or they're just like, well, he's out of sight, out of mind. I can't see him. He's not here.
Bad man gone.
Everything is so different now. Everything is so different. And it's insane because if it was anything else, if a leader left, but their entire family was still there in leadership and everything. Yeah. Listen, if this was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
If this was the YSL court case.
If this was the YSL, exactly.
Co-conspirators, all of them.
Everybody's conspiracy theorists. And like I said, I say what I want because at the end of the day, nobody can do anything to me. Nobody can do. I'm never going to fight you for WWE credentials. Never going to fight you for connections. I'm a freelancer. I am completely independent. I fly myself out. I done been somewhere before. Nobody can tell me anything. Like literally can tell me anything about, well, you don't understand. I just want people to be honest about who they are. If you don't care, and that's why a man told me flat out, during WrestleMania, he said, I'm going to be honest, I don't care about them allegations. I'm just trying to enjoy wrestling.
I saw that.
I respect that. Yeah. Now, do I agree with you? Absolutely not.
Right.
But I respect the people who are honest enough to say, like, guess what? I don't care enough to let this impede on my hobby. Like, I just don't care enough.
Right.
But y'all will have that same audacity and then have the nerve to like start openly going after people. Be like, you saw Tony Khan's tweet? I can't believe you watched that show. Huh? You saw that? Did you see that affidavit? Did you see that affidavit? That 60-page affidavit?
Did you see these redacted names? Like,
do you know how many people referenced in those court documents were on screen during WrestleMania?
Right. Who is corporate officer 1, 2, and 3?
And my thing is, you want to do all that, and guess what? For the most part, like, I wasn't coming after nobody night. The thing is, how I look at WrestleMania, I think that in wrestling, we're all cousins, right? And I think that some of us split off and we leave, etc. But WrestleMania feels kind of like, for better or worse, it's the family reunion. So everybody goes, everybody like congregates online, etc. Mm-hmm. And so I realized for this day, it's really important to people, so I shut up. But what I don't understand It's just, but what I don't understand is that everybody gets to enjoy their milestones in silence. And oh my gosh, I got WrestleMania. Yeah, I'm going to Royal Rumble. Yes, everybody gets to enjoy their milestones. Mm-hmm. But when anybody, whether it's wrestler, whether it's a fan, whether it's a content creator, whether it's media, if you do anything for AEW or anywhere else, even New Japan or anything else, it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't matter. And my thing is that of just, I'm fine with you liking what you like. If you decided that this ain't a deal breaker for you, that's cool. But this constant side-eyeing, subtweeting, private quote tweeting, talking shit behind people's backs, fake blackballing with no power, crazy. These intimidation tactics, like all this slick talking, cut it. Like cut it. If you like what you like, that's fine. But continuously trying to like drive people out of this space for not having having a different opinion, you're too old for that.
Well,
and
identity politics.
It is. And I say this as a 26-year-old because a lot of the younger people who want to break in this space, they come to me and like they DM me and they're just like, I see what you go through. And I'm going to be honest, that's why I'm scared to start a podcast because I don't think I can handle it. It's just like y'all are genuinely scaring people. Like y'all, and it's for whoever it's for. Like this one is actually for whoever it's for because I can take it. Like, like I have a background, like I was built for this shit, but it's genuinely affecting the future. Like it's genuinely affecting the future. Yeah. There are so many talented young Black people who want to get in this space, who are interested in alternative wrestling, who are interested in international wrestling, whose lives don't center around the Stanford axis, but y'all withhold support to make it seem like, oh yeah, you can do this, but we won't support you. We won't help you. We won't let you on our podcast platforms. We'll never offer you a guest host. We'll never retweet your shit unless you do this for me. And I'm tired of y'all scaring the hoes. Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. Like, and then all this sneak going back for, get in the booth. That's what these podcast mics are for. My platform is always open to anybody who ever want to square off with, like, word to word, mouth to mouth. I see you, you see me, we see each other. That's
real.
All I got to say.
And like a lot of this, to loop it back around to like, the title changing and, going on a Black wrestler, it was, so people act like this was, just this thing that was never going to happen, in AEW at least. And then it did. So now
they have now they don't know what to do now. They're coping.
They're scrambling.
Yeah.
And it's not just Swerve. That's the thing, y'all. It's not just Swerve. And I said this weekend. You see how many Black people are on AEW Weekly TV? Shane Taylor Promotions always booked.
Yep.
Top Flight and Private Party always booked. Yep. Red Velvet, Queen Aminata. Athena was even back on TV.
Yep.
Mercedes is always on TV. Willow's always on TV. Swerve and Nana are always on TV.
Hobbs.
And not just on screen, behind the screen. Will Washington,
Coach Irby.
I'm glad you said that. Keep going before I say that.
Yeah, like we have two people. We have two Black people in major management in AEW. I don't think there's ever been one in WWE ever.
Clock it.
Yeah.
I think. Thank you for bringing that part up. For me, that's what I'm interested in. That's what matters to me. Like at the end of the day, this media shit, wrestling media is not real. I just want to start there. But what is real is my sport and entertainment management degree. So administration is real. Like that's real. That's real power. Because honestly, and I said this about women's wrestling and the WNBA and women's basketball when that man asked that stupid question to Caitlin Clark, because women's sports cannot evolve until everything's evolved. It can't just be the players. It has to be behind the scenes. Same thing goes for Black wrestling, right? It's one thing to have Black world champions, right? But we've done that before. We need Black executives.
Yeah.
We need Black actually executive and creative who are making the decisions. That's what interests me. For example, like there's still mountains to climb. Like we've made a lot of progress with Black men. You have Will Washington doing wrestling administration in AEW, have Coach Irby, on live events, which is a huge deal. He actually came from Clemson, which is from my home state, even though it's my rival. But I'm a Gamecock. I know.
I saw you during the Final Four. I saw you.
Yeah, I'm a Gamecock. I do have to be honest. But at the same time, like, there's been no Black women who've ever, like, crossed these type of barriers and stuff like that. That's what's interesting to me. Like, those are the things that's interesting to me. And my thing is, when you tell a company you're not diverse enough and you want change, that's what I'm interested to see. And when a company does it, nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. Seriously.
Forgot Rocky as well.
Oh yeah, Rocky Romero.
I forgot a third one.
Rocky is the GOAT. And I think it's just so it's so frustrating to me because I only foresee it getting nastier in the next few weeks because it's already starting. The discourse today earlier about Willow and Mercedes is already starting because people genuinely want to make Mercedes pay. Like they want her to see her suffer. They want her to fail.
Yep.
They want revenge because they feel betrayed. How dare you leave home?
She left them.
Yeah. I saw somebody online, and obviously we have idiots everywhere. I saw someone said that like Kofi was like dead to them because he congratulated Swerve. on Twitter publicly.
It's crazy.
What?
It's nuts. Like, it's nuts. Like, none of these people are real. And it's, don't get me wrong, like, I understand. I'm not saying that black wrestlers in WWE are not making progress, because, like, I see the Twitch chat, right? Like, I get it. Like, Trick Williams is actually, he went to my high school and my college, both my own college. Like, I am ecstatic to see him be successful. But there's also this. Think about it. When you looked at WrestleMania 40, how many of those stars were under 30?
Right.
Like, let's just be real. And even the main event, big on nostalgia. And I will say, that's WWE's best seller. Yeah. Because they can sell nostalgia.
Their whole main event scene in the men's single side is all 35-ish.
100%. No. But it is, there's
38-ish and up.
Yes, 38 and up. And there's no excuse why Braun Breaker shouldn't have been on that card. There's no excuse that Tiffany Stratton shouldn't have been on that card. Carmella was in NXT way too long. But the thing is, you have this warehouse, and so the idea of the warehouse itself being for rising stars, that alone, people will just take that and run with it. But are you actually elevating them? Are you, and we keep talking, like what I said about Montez, right? We keep talking about the future. What about the now? I want to talk about now, today. And let's think about it. Which side are the true stars under 35 today getting opportunities to be stars right now?
It's AEW, and it's going to continue to be AEW.
Or is 34 years old.
Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, Jay White, literally all of these guys under 35.
Darby Allin is 20 still.
Yeah, Kyle Fletcher, Darby.
Yep.
Jack Perry,
Garcia,
30. Going over to the women's side. Yeah. Mercedes herself is what, 33? Willow is still in her 20s. Toni Storm is still in her 20s. Mm-hmm. Jamie Hayter turned 29 today. Like, and when we talk about investing in the youth, and then you, like, I just don't get it. And
I think, as you mentioned before, like, some people are caught up on nostalgia. So, like, it takes forever for people to get that attachment in WWE to get something moving for you. Like, I mean, you have success stories like LA Knight, but LA Knight is very charismatic. He always was very charismatic. Even though people weren't watching him, you could just watch his NWA stuff, or even when he was, TNA, and you could tell, like, oh yeah, that's a very talented dude. Yeah, yes, it's very rockish, Ric Flairish, but talented nonetheless. And he finally got a shot at his ripe old age of late 30s when he was, in NXT, or I'm sorry, FWC with Dean Ambrose as a roommate. Like he mentioned, when is the now? And the now is LA Knight in his late 30s. Finally getting to the show.
Is he 40?
Yeah,
he might be older. 40. Yeah, you're right. He might be 40.
Like I said, if that floats your boat, that's fine. But, like, I'm just really fed up of, if you're so happy with that product, be happy over there. Seriously. Like, this whole rain on everybody's parades, like, it's starting now with Double or Nothing, and be like, well, I just care about Willow, and I don't, what if she's a transit? Shut up! You don't care! You know what? If I asked you right now to name me a Willow Nightingale match that was not with Mercedes, you can't do it. You can't do it. If I asked you to name me Willow's last 3 hair colors, you can't do it. Enough. I have had it of just like, well, Mercedes just shouldn't be able to go in and be handed anything. Listen, Mercedes laid down for every last one of your faves. Every last one of them, whether she should have or not, in that company. Her being the youngest out of the bunch, the one who should have been built to be the ROG, the star, she laid down for every last one of them. She never walked out of a WrestleMania with a belt until that tag title run, and we saw how that went. She literally, it's one thing if she came in and just said, I just want to take the world title. She is fighting for a television championship. The woman asked for her first match to be a television championship, and y'all still are finding reasons to cry. And it's just like, that's why I say, like, this is so much bigger than Swerve at this point. This is a bigger conversation. Yep. And the thing is, if nobody else is going to have it, I'm going to have it because it's fucked up. Like, it's getting to the point to where I feel like a lot of us were just like, oh, this is just normal. We can just ignore it. It is what it is. But it's very clear, like, this is a concerted effort to try to, like, erase, diminish, and belittle the accomplishments of Black wrestlers when they decide not to stick to the status quo. And that has to be nipped in the bud, or else the future implications of it, we are heading for an even worse path for in wrestling for Black wrestlers than we've already seen. Like, even worse.
And it's very disheartening when it's being perpetuated by people that also appear to be Black on Twitter. Yeah. And a lot of it, and the thing is, it's just for people who are on Twitter,
look,
like
for people blackfishing on Twitter.
Yeah, that's why I said people that appear to be Black.
That's the truth, and I think also for those who are a little bit deeper in it, of just that's just the public side of it. We like some of us know what the private conversations, things behind closed doors, and in these discords, and in these private chats, and these private quote tweets. What's being said then, because a lot of people like are silent publicly and then hide their hand. It's just like it's getting nasty to where you can't say it's anything. Like I had somebody literally tell me on Twitter that it's like that. Do you think that there's a concerted effort against you right now? Like people trying to shut you up? Shit, it might be.
Could be.
It could be. I don't. Like I said, I don't care. Nobody can take anything.
The shit that I see that people send to you is vile, and it's like y'all would not be sending this to me or Rich. And me and Rich get a share. Rich get a great deal more than me because like I just more or less stay away from saying stuff. But yeah, like it is just full on like this is a Black woman. What business she have having an opinion, especially one that differs from mine? I'm going to text off
and what the fuck is she talking about that Japanesey wrestling? Oh no, we can't have that.
It's a whole different level because it's just like one, you got to think. We've been conditioned to believe that one, Black wrestling only matters in WWE. We've been conditioned to believe that women's wrestling is not much at all. And then we've also been conditioned to believe that foreign wrestlers are not legit players in America. Right. That foreign wrestlers are the comedic relief. They're this foreign heel invasion, etc. Like, everything that I intentionally stand for, a lot of people are going to hate. I'm aware of that. Like, listen, I have a background in politics and activism. Like I said, I could literally do this shit all day. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, I won't be deterred. But the comments that, like, when I say, like, people are getting really nasty things, like, in their DMs and their mentions, like, the things that are said to women, it's just like, how do I say it? I've never seen Black women specifically be so unprotected. Simply for an opinion. Like, it's one thing, like, you would think that I've really shot somebody. Like, I shot somebody's dog. Like, over some wrestling takes. Like, that's how people act, and it's just like, people are seeing that. Like, people are seeing that and saying, oh, I don't want to join this space. Oh, I don't feel included. And, like, Black wrestling is already such a small group. So to continue to alienate people and exile them even further is insane. And it doesn't say a lot for the preservation of us going forward much longer.
Yeah, I just wish there was something that I don't even know how to say it. Like it's just it's so much like that. I see you go through and and you don't always know how to, not you in particular, like, just like I see that stuff and it's like, is this like real? Is this like, is this just like bullshit? Like, but people was really hurt out here.
And the thing is, you'll never know.
Deep-seated hurt.
Right.
Like, you'll never know. Like, you'll never know if it's a bot. You don't know if it's like an account. And also, like, a lot of times you'll find out that it's somebody that you may or may not know who makes a burner account. Like that's one thing about Twitter. Like you do or do not know. Like you genuinely don't know. You could be arguing with Elon Musk himself half the time. You genuinely don't know the difference or what's them bots, pussy and bio. Like you never know who you're talking to half the time on there. But it's one of those things. Like I said, like mentally I'm tough, and so like I was. I'm not saying that is right, but like I said, I was built for this. But a lot of people aren't. And we always talk about how wrestling is such a niche. Sunday should have been a unifying experience to bring more fans in. And the fact that some people went out of their way to be like, actually, I don't even watch that show, but I want to make sure that you don't watch it either. Because this, that, and the third. And like, this is da-da-da-da-da-da. And I don't really care about anything else, but this one thing, you shouldn't watch it at all, actually. And I don't want anybody to be successful. I don't want anybody because this one thing, fuck everybody else that you got back in that locker room. I don't care. I don't watch it. Neither should you.
Yeah. Tweets came out on cue.
Only one thing should exist. Only one thing should exist.
Amazing. We should probably roll into the next match, but like I said, Swerve Strickland is the new champion. Y'all niggas got to deal with it.
Okay. AEW World Tag Team Title Ladder Match. FTR versus the Young Bucks. They had to follow what was probably the match of the year so far. And it was real tough for them in the beginning. And then they decided, hey, let's just be violent Young Bucks that they say that, you know, we never are. And let's get blood on Dax real quick. And let's start, you know, just wrestling our asses off and just like doing what we do as two of the best tag teams of all time. And the crowd eventually woke up, which is, you know, a credit to the style of, you know, Japanese cards where like they put their best stuff at the end. And like, if you got to follow an all timer, you can be your own palate cleanser by having a match to build towards something that goes crazy at the 15-minute mark or the 20-minute mark. And that's pretty much what they did. They built themselves up to get people invested after having a bomb clear out all the air out the arena. And they did it. And the crowd was hyped. And then Dax was up on that ladder. And as soon as I saw Dax on that ladder, I was like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he coming from? And he showed up in a Sting mask. And Jack Perry with the Sting mask on pushes Dax down. Security was in on it and grabbed him, and then they took off the mask. And the one brother, the light skinned brother, is always on the show. When he pulled on that mask, excellent acting, because like he knows who it is, but he has to play it like he doesn't know. But he made that face. Clearly, he don't even see Jack's face. He just sees the hair and whatever. So he made that face like, this motherfucker, I'm gonna beat your ass. Get your ass out the ring. And behind him, you see Matt climb up and grab the belt. And crowd went crazy for Jack Perry. The only thing that would have made this better would have been if after they took off the face Sting mask, that was actually Sting. That's the only thing that would have topped this. Sting just came back and said, you know what? Fuck him. Fuck you, FTR. But yeah, man, this it was a great match, and you know, Young Bucks ladder match, one of the safest bets in pro wrestling.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not a big FTR fan at all, but I do acknowledge the fact that when they are up against a great team, they tend to deliver. And I will say, I had very low expectations for this match, even before I found out where it was slotted on the card, because I was at Wembley, and to me, that third match was kind of trash. Like, it didn't move me like I wanted it to, and I think that was probably the match on the card that I was most excited for from a wrestling standpoint. So I was very upset when I felt like it didn't deliver for me. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, we've seen this match 3 times. What are we going to do? Ladder matches kind of don't really move me as much as they used to. But, and like I said, and then they ended up following Ospreay Danielson, which was, I think, an impossible task for anybody but these two teams. But they were relentless in making sure that people stayed, got invested in, staying into, like, they went to their absolute peak for this match. And I think I appreciated it just because I think we needed to see that. I think there needed to be a bold declaration for the tag division. Like, that we're in a new era. This is a new tag division. And I felt like that match, and finally, hopefully never revisiting that again. I hope that was the final chapter. But the match was great. Shout out to the Young Bucks. They deserved to be the first 3-time champions. And the tag division has never failed when it's in their hands. So nothing but respect for my EVPs.
Shout out to all the real jackers in the chat.
You still with this shit? Oh, Lyric, no.
Listen, I was in Chicago. I was in Chicago for Windy City Riot. Like, we jacking off.
Correct.
We're jacking off, man. We're jacking off.
There.
We're jacking off.
We are doing it. I got to slap fives with Jack Perry in the back. Pulling the curtain back after this, and I was very happy to see him. I was very happy to welcome him back to the company as like this pariah or alleged pariah, who's in the mammoth god level reaction he got when I was in the building. It was just like, like I said, I don't like to do victory laps. However, I insisted this guy is special, and I always have. From the time he was doing the 10-minute draw with Jericho, and all the great tag team matches with Jurassic Express, into going into his singles career. This guy never misses on pay-per-view, and aligning him with the Bucks, I think is a great move. The only thing that would be better is if he ended up fighting them. Yep. I think that, as far as the match goes, they were doing a lot of very physical, dangerous things. And I was like,
is Cash okay?
Right?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I may talk about FTR, right? Like, just like Lyra said, look, they're not my favorite tags here or anything, but that Cash motherfucker.
The people that are watching this, all the people you see in here, no, James, Lyric, Rich, the FTR is nobody's favorite tag team in this chat right now.
Yeah, but this Cash Wheeler motherfucker is a bad motherfucker when motivated.
Listen, that's Perk Wheeler. That's Perk Wheeler right there.
Wheeler.
This motherfucker is not real.
He's not real. I don't know why he even thought he needed a gun.
When he gets teed up, listen, whatever they said he did, I believe it. That man when he teed up, he different.
It's funny, like Dax always gets all the love as like the great worker, the singles guy among them. Nah, I'm rolling with Cash Wheeler.
Cash the high spot guy. Cash the high spot guy.
Yeah, like every time that man gets around the Young Bucks, like that man like is like his factory setting gets thrown off and he decides to start flipping. I don't know what it is about the Bucks, but it brings it out of them. But Bucks, first 3-time champions, as Lyric mentioned. This entire thing was building up for them. This entire tournament, Sting and Darby, like these belts were, for them essentially. And I think they're one of the hottest acts in the promotion. Once again, it took them a little while to get it rolling, but between the Revolution main event and this, like, I think, we got to start talking about, their 8th tag team of the year award in the Observer, because they're about to go and cement, their Hall of Fame induction this year. They were 5% away last year. And this is, I feel like we're going to get a real long run with these guys. I'm talking like a year, like build up whoever you're going to build up for them. But they have so much juice right now. I think, and FTR can get back to it later. Nothing was going to change if FTR won these belts now. Like, it was, we already kind of just did that whole thing. So it's time for it to switch around and move around back to the Bucks. And I think they're the greatest tag team of all time. Jack Perry being reintroduced. What can you say? Like, I think this guy's a superstar, and just, he's got the juice right now.
As somebody who was in Chicago when on the night that he got, man, I think it was so crazy because nobody knew what to expect. And like, before a show, like they'll start showing like the graphics for the matches. When the one for him versus Shota came up, people some people started cheering, and then some people started booing. That's how I knew it was going to be a crazy night, because this is before the pre-show or anything. But when it hit, and when he came out in that Chicago flag, to this day, I've been to some crazy places. I've been to Forbidden Door. I've been in the Tokyo Dome. I've been to Wembley. But that experience, that feeling as a wrestling fan, is probably going to go on my bucket list as one of the craziest, like, pure emotion. Like, he did that. Whether you liked him, whether you hated him, everybody felt something passionately for Jack Perry. And I feel like that's the difference of just a lot of people were saying, like, oh, like, they should have never showed the footage. They should never show the footage. We got 5 seconds into that match, and I immediately said they made the right call. Because whether you hate him or love him, now everybody has a stance on Jack Perry. Everybody feels some type of way. And also, the gag was people were really expecting him to just get slaughtered in Chicago. And so when he came out, it was already 80-20. And as the night went on, it kept shifting. It went to like 70-30. Then it went to about 60-40. And to be quite honest, by the time the night ended, it was more about 40-60. Honestly, more people were on his side than against him. And even the guys who were sitting behind me, they were big CM Punk fans, and they were just like, I'm not gonna lie, this Jack dude is pretty cool. Right? He's pretty cool. And they're like, because he played up into everything, like coming out with the SWAT team. And I one thing I really hate about New Japan sometimes is that at their American shows, they don't put a lot of effort in production wise. They very much nothing. It's bare bones. But
bring your ass out, work your match, walk your ass back.
Exactly. But what I do like about that is that it shows you who really has the juice and who really don't. Like, who doesn't, people who aren't hiding behind the lights, people who aren't hiding behind the pyro, who really has aura, like that real God-given aura. Jack Perry has it. And he kept it throughout the entire night. And it ended up rubbing off on Shota too, because honestly, that match helped him a ton. And I would also like to say, if I'm ever beefing with somebody and they start chanting for my op to do my finisher, listen, I would have like, that is crazy. Do you know I would have been sick as a dog? Because there's no way that I done went on this press run and told y'all, everybody, oh, he just a little peewee, he ain't nothing. Only for my city to chant for my op. Do that GTS, do that little dance he be doing. Mm-hmm. Like, and it was genuine. And it was real. And even like the Dynasty response, I think some people thought it was going to be split. They greeted that man like an old friend.
It was like, welcome home. All hail Jack's home, nigga.
The reason why I dislike the whole situation of them playing the video is because unless nobody, who in the right mind thought that he was going to come back and be booed out of wherever they were at, unless it was like Chicago. And like, he shows up, of course people want to cheer him, but like, he's going to come out here with a huge reaction because he's back, and he immediately is with heels. That was my whole point. Like, what was the point of putting him, of even airing this? Because you know he's about to come push Dax off ladder, align with the Young Bucks, who are heels, with Okada, who is a heel, in a heel faction. Like, is this meant to be, you know, and I said my frustration about the whole thing last weekend, like, our last show, but I guess now it's like, all right, well, the reaction is reaction, and we just gonna run with it, and one way or the other doesn't matter. Baby. He's just gonna be in the faction with the heels, getting booed or cheered or whatever, just getting loud noise, we don't care.
I think that Toni overestimated how much AEW fans still care about CM Punk.
Because Tony Khan's the biggest mark for CM Punk.
He misses him, and that's okay. I guess. I can't say that I feel the same, but I think he genuinely thought that he was going to come out of that being like, "Oh my God, you ran CM Punk away." They treat this man like a hero. They started like in Chicago, in this man's city. They started "Thank you, Jack" chants. They said "Thank you."
I can't wait for Wednesday.
Scapegoat. They said "Thank you, scapegoat." Thank you.
You have freed us. Give us free. He freed us.
Like that reaction for Jack Perry, they said, there goes our savior. There goes our savior. So I don't know what the plan was, but I do have faith that alongside the Bucks, like the thing is, Jack Perry could get cheered or anything. Like alongside what the Bucks and Okada are doing right now, I think that they're gonna have no problem bringing themselves heat. Like everybody is really functioning at all cylinders, and I also think that this is a different Jack Perry than the person that we saw at All In versus Hook. And I realized that in Chicago, he's a lot more sure of himself. He knows how to work the audience a lot more. He knows how to make those tiny adjustments that great wrestlers know how to make in the midst of time. A lot like the Elite. It made me think of like when the Elite, their first show in Chicago after coming back from the suspension, no other team would have been able to handle that type of adversity. But by the end of the match, guess what? They had everybody cheering for him. And so Jack Perry has clearly picked up some of those things. And so I think he's going to be fine. And also next week, apparently we're going to get a Kenny Omega appearance. I'm so excited. And so up against Kenny in his hometown, they're all going to get booed if they try some funny shit. So it's going to work out. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, we've been skating around it, but Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, flat out one of the greatest matches of all time, and that feels like an understatement.
Yep.
I can't believe I was there in person to see this. This is the best match I've ever seen in person, almost by like a smooth mile. I can't believe that I watched this level of greatness. And there were concerns from people I saw, there was a lot of bullshit like, oh, it's going to be a carry job one way or no, let me cut y'all off right there. Like, this is, I said this on the show with Dave Finnis show. This British motherfucker, Will Ospreay, he got knighted in the middle of that ring by Bryan Danielson.
Sure.
And he's finishing the job that Kenny Omega started last year. Like, these early 40s guys tap this guy on the shoulder and we're like, we're going to give it to you, buddy. And I say give loosely is because this guy Ospreay has been taking it in 5 consecutive years of being the best wrestler in the world, like, and just outrageous, in-match stuff, in-match resume and, in-ring work and absurd schedules around the world. This was just like the time when generations cross and you just get just the converging of great ideas and styles of pro wrestling, like with Danielson coming out here, he's like, hey, I can't ground this guy. I can't really, strike with him. So fuck it, I got to go crazy too. So like, and then it boils down to the simple story of, it's two guys facing off and, I don't watch the anime and all that. But everybody said it was like some anime thing, like where they come to that final standoff and they run at each other and it's my arm and my elbow versus your knee. And for me, that would be like an old Western, it'd be like, all right, who's going to get to their gun faster? That's what it came down to. And I thought this was sensational. I think this is like the best match possibly. Like, like there's there's Omega and Ospreay in the Dome. And then like, Okada Omega 4, like that's the level like we're on right here with this. I don't know if it's exactly, I don't know if it's Okada Omega 4 because that's another, that's their fourth match. That's a whole different thing. But these guys, I'm so interested to see what Dave does on this. I think 6.75 is coming. I
think so too. This is probably for me, I think it was the best match ever on American soil. I would probably say that because any match that I would put above it, it's only like 3 matches that I would put above it. And that's Okada Omega 4, Shibata Okada, and Ospreay Omega 1. And those all happened in Japan. Like you said, I feel like Ospreay, you got to think, like, he's so stamped. Like, he's just so stamped. Like, being 30 years old and have already ran the gauntlet of the best wrestlers in the world, who is, Okada, Ospreay, not Okada, Danielson, Omega, and can say that you've given just about all of them one of their best, if not their best match, is absolutely insane, because these, in my opinion, are the 4 greatest wrestlers in the world. And to do something different with each of them. And like, even like last night, like I had to go rewatch Omega Ospreay 1. I was just like, this is a completely different match. It doesn't even feel fair to like compare them. He's had such a versatile career already of just every match feels different. Everything
like I'll elicit sympathy or like,
exactly. Completely different type match. When I look back at Ospreay Omega 1, that match was a lot more similar. If you've ever watched Shibata Okada, in the sense of being a largely 80-20 match, Will Ospreay doesn't get a lot of offense, particularly in Ospreay Omega 1, but the storytelling, the framing, and the selling make it just absolutely incredible. Versus this match felt like a pure creme de la creme wrestling match. And it didn't have like the most spectacular build, because one, it didn't need it. It wasn't in the most famous venue in the world. It was genuinely one of those matches that would sell itself genuinely because it's two of the top wrestlers in the world. And it's really hard for a match like that to deliver, but I feel like they over-delivered. Like, you gotta think, they could have gone like a simple 5. It could have been 4.5, and I would have been happy. Like, you know, I think, but they absolutely over-delivered. Bryan Danielson is not real, and I'm getting so close to like Birdie, can we talk? Like, do you really need him like all the time? Like, do you really need him all the time?
People grow up without fathers every day, B.
Hello, like I would like. Do you really need him? Like, girl, like, you know, that is one of the rough things about this era. Like, a lot of wrestlers are actually being fathers now, and it's just like I get it. Like, that's great. That's great. That's amazing. But listen, I grew up without a father. I think that is great that people are doing it. However, like, your dad is Bryan Danielson. We need him. Because
honestly,
Bryan, there's no way that
he's a lot more useful to us. I think.
Bryan, there's no way that you was caged up for so long and you were retired for so long, and we just got you. Like, if this is how you're cooking, please. This is crazy. The run he's on is absolutely crazy. He brought back half the Puro gods. He brought back all the CML LL niggas. He brought back all wrestling everybody at AEW to prepare for this match. Like, I love the precedent that this sends, and I hope more people take to that. That is what AEW is about, but also that's what wrestling is about. And I love the fact that these wrestlers, like especially these 4 wrestlers in the world, it's not about the money. It's not about the how many WrestleManias am I going to main event? It's about, I am the best in the world because I've wrestled the best in the world. And I believe that to be in this conversation, you got to get in the booth. And like, people, even like with Mox going, you know, getting the IWGP heavyweight championship, it's just so refreshing to see like wrestlers have other goals of just being like, championships are cool, like titles are cool, but what's the impact that you're leaving? And this is one of those matches that truly, the highest compliment I can give it is that I believe that a lot of people are going to become wrestling fans because they saw this. Just like I feel like, you know, Omega Okada created so many like wrestling fans, even people who weren't interested in that style of wrestling, like, you know, where everybody hears about it, to where it doesn't matter how much discourse is on the timeline. The wrestling that's so good that it so supersedes any negativity, any type of conversation. And I think like this match did exactly that.
And there wasn't even a lot of like stupid discourse around this. Usually when one of these happened, especially, you know, like last year, because, you know, largely who was in it, you know, people want to get stupid, but they couldn't even try it on this one, seemingly.
Absolutely.
Because they hold Danielson in a different esteem than they do Omega, and especially Ospreay. Ospreay is a person that is pushing this forward, so he's getting the most pushback as it's going. And Omega got that too, but Ospreay and people like Ricochet, in 2016 when they were doing their thing in juniors, people were like, this is an abomination to the fake sport, right? That's what they were saying. And the part where Ospreay has matured so much in his game, I don't even say maturity, that mean like as if he wasn't awesome doing what he was doing, like, or as far as making his stuff more palatable to the people that think he can't or don't agree with what he was doing, and still making it his own as far as what's going to be how people are going to be wrestling 20 years from now, 15 years from now, or 20 years from now in WWE. Like, people are going to have to deal with it because now he's doing it. He's been in here with Omega and Danielson, two people that like are there to legitimize him. Okada also as well, but as you mentioned, like, people care so little about what happens in Japan that like we're gonna look forward after this and be like, well.
And out of those four,
yeah,
and I think I'm going to actually end up having to write about this, but out of those four, when you think of Ospreay, Danielson, Omega, and Okada, Ospreay is truly the hope of the other three because he's the first one who his entire career essentially is available online. Everybody else, like, do you know how many Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega matches that we don't have access to because they were happening, like, in whatever places? Like, for example, I think it's the Kenny Omega AJ Styles match that happened like in a closet somewhere, and we never found it. And like, there's no tape that exists. Will Ospreay gets to spend his 30s, his prime on television. That didn't happen to Kenny. Kenny didn't get on TV until he was 36, 35, 36.
Yeah, 36, something
Bryan
like that.
Danielson spent his peak in-ring years, both retired and in WWE, so it was only but so much he can do. That's why he's 42 going crazy. Okada just turned 36 and is just now getting on television. For that type of style, that level of caliber of wrestling, Will Ospreay is the future. He's both the now and the future. We've never seen that before. And so now you see these transcendent wrestlers. Like, I do think like Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita eventually are going to be, I think, on that level one day. Like, obviously not right now, but I do think like eventually they are going to reach that level. It's absolutely transcendent. And I'm not sure a lot of people are paying, because some people don't want to pay attention to it because
right.
A lot of people are like, wrestling doesn't matter. The wrestling doesn't matter. But for the people who the wrestling matters to, we are in probably the greatest era as far as accessibility be able to have the access to the greatness that's happening around us.
Yeah, and that's the reason why these matches. That's the reason why there's better wrestling than there's ever been, because like everybody get to see everybody from around the world do shit, and they can add that stuff to their game everywhere, right? Like that's.
I think it also makes it, for me personally, it's much easier to critique wrestling too, because it's just like, I think for a while when wrestling wasn't acceptable, it was easy for other companies to like run with whatever narrative that they can, right? And so if you tell me that Roman Reigns is the best wrestler in the world because I don't know any better, I'm going to believe you. And I'm not a Roman Reigns hater, actually. I think that he does his job pretty well. But when I can just go online and pull up this Will Ospreay clip, no, you can't tell me you got a shooter better than that, bro. You can't. You can't.
Hey guys, I have a breaking news announcement. We're gonna be joined by a special guest right now. Not gonna tell you guys who it is, but just going to drop him in. And just waiting for him to arrive. Swerve Strickland, AEW World Champion.
What it do?
What is going on? Welcome to One Nation Radio.
What's going on, man? Appreciate the merch plug over there. I see you. What up, Lyric? How's everything going?
I got a question. Why you sweating, bro? You good?
Man, I took pre-workout too late tonight.
Oh, man.
It's gonna be a long night, bro. It's gonna be a long night. Oof. I'm just leaving the gym right now. I had 8 interviews in Jacksonville, drove 3 hours back home to Orlando, and got straight to the gym. I am beat, but
he got
world champion. World champ right now. Don't get rest.
He got the itinerary. He got the itinerary of the president now. Now that he got the belt. Okay.
Yes, sir. So yeah, man. We talked a little bit earlier about you winning the AEW World Championship. It's all kind of impromptu, everybody. So if you're seeing this, we're definitely gonna cut it and all that. Yeah. But you know, you've been AEW World Champion for 2 days now. Have you looked at this? You know, you woke up with the belt at least twice now. Has it really sunk in yet for you?
I don't know yet. I remember I told you about the day before. I was like, I got to empty my mind of any issues, anything that's going on at home, anything that's like my body ailments, like relationship issues, whatever's going on. I have to empty the brain and just start anew the day of, you know. And after the celebration that we was at the night of, after the pay-per-view and all that, it's starting to come to me slowly, but just seeing like some people pull up the stats and put my name next to like Ron Simmons and legends like, you know, freaking Mark Henry and like Big Kof, you know, all these guys I just like literally studied and looked up to, and put my name next to those guys of like, it's now hearing the statistics of it, it's coming to me more and more and more, you know, and that's like major for me.
Anybody else want to jump in?
You didn't even prep me for like have a question.
Right, I wasn't expecting to talk to the AEW World Heavyweight.
Neither was I. I got a phone. I got a phone call in the middle of the show. I was like, "Hey, I'm live on ONR right now. I could bring."
Yeah, I'm like, cool. Plug me in.
All right. So, how do I say this? So, your thoughts on everything that went into going into the other night, like the television, if you will. How do you feel, like your thoughts on what you were aiming for, and how do you feel like it was executed? Like, do you feel like you did exactly what you want to do, from the contract signing to the chain to everything? How do you feel like you were able to, what was going on in you and Joe's minds and collaboration? How do you think that came out compared to what was on screen?
I'm honestly, that whole month, because it was not long to get between me and Joe from Revolution all the way to Dynasty. We didn't have much time to make it as personal. Mm-hmm. It literally had to be about the championship. Like, we couldn't really play on the same notes and beats as me and Hangman Page. Right. So we had to find a different note to play off of. And from the time we had to the physicality that we put into things, to telling a little bit of the backstory and the climb as myself, Swerve Strickland, the character, to get to there, the setbacks, Joe, the dominant force that he was, and still to this day, like, I credit Joe for like just being a force ever since like getting the title back in December. He's been like an absolute force, and he felt like I wanted to make him feel like a titan. Like, it's going to take how am I going to beat this guy? What is it going to take this guy out? And I think from the time we had and what we could like put together, I think we did a great job. I was really happy with this contract signing. Besides me getting bloodied up to high hell, I think it was one of I'm really proud of those 4 weeks. I'm really proud of like being able to work with Joe and learn a lot just by that little bit of time we had. I was really happy with it. Even the 3-way promos between myself, Hangman, and Joe, I treasure those moments as well.
I got a question. So heading into obviously a very historic moment, being the first Black AEW World Champion, specifically as it relates to, the Black community, wrestling, how we talk to each other. What were the conversations that you hope to come out of your title victory? Like, because obviously I feel like every Black champion has like obviously a different vibe. Everybody brings something different to the table. What kind of conversations are you hoping to start amongst the community with your journey to this title?
That hard work does pay off. Like, I would say about 3 years ago now, but yeah, going on 3 years now, I'll never forget, Shawn Michaels pulled me aside and told me, he's like, "Hey, Swerve, I'm sorry to break this to you, but you're going to have to be the ones. You're going to have to be one of the guys that takes the long road to get to where you need to be. You're like me. We had to take the long road to get to where we need to be. But when we get there, it's sweet. It's a really good, sweet feeling. But we're not the ones gifted to be like, boom, chosen first draft pick, go right to the franchise player. We're not those guys. We have to be the ones to take the workload. And that's why God kind of put us here to be that. We have to be the ones to tell that story to everybody else. You know, we're the chosen ones, not in a sense of like we're the chosen ones that we're the ones like that are like first hand picked. No, we're the chosen ones that are like the 6th round draft picks that have to work our way up to the starting lineup to win the Super Bowl. We are the chosen ones to tell that kind of story. And that takes a lot of like a lot of discipline, a lot of like early mornings, late nights, a lot of just boots to the ground, a lot of just digging deep and representing in that way, representing in a way that's like, it's not just like, I just happen to be an African-American man that's working hard, but I feel like that story translates to every nationality, in my opinion. Like man, woman, like it doesn't matter. Like hopefully like the people that flew out there, that watched the pay-per-view, that literally got to come out there to see this moment and invest that time, invest that travel, invest that energy into staying to the main event after a phenomenal, monumental show, one of the greatest matches probably in the history of wrestling that we witnessed, and still staying to the end to give that last bit of energy to witness history. That meant so much. And that's what and to me, that's what I wanted to display.
Yeah, man. I just, on a personal note, I'm just so proud of you for the journey that you took because nothing, and I mean nothing, was guaranteed from, I met you. You were in NXT struggling to get on TV at that time. I remember one time you were like, man, do you even watch any of my matches? And I was like, look, man, I kept it a stack with you. I was like, yo, it's real hard to watch, like knowing like the level that you're at and then what they got you doing right now. So like, you won't say it, I will. Like, and from there, it just, all the right moves kept getting made, with, how you approach the business and, the work you're willing to do and make other people look good when a lot of people weren't willing to do that. As far as, the future, this summer, like, you got Kyle Fletcher, tomorrow night. It was just announced, on Dynamite. Looking at Kyle Fletcher, like, what kind of, when you're approaching, wrestling this guy, like what are you looking to like kind of make a statement with, when you step in the ring with a guy like that, and speak a little bit about Kyle Fletcher?
I remember being in Wolverhampton in the UK, being in like multi-scramble matches with Kyle Fletcher. And I was like, him and Mark Davis were in the multi-man matches and stuff like that. And I was like, man, these guys are talented. Where they come from? Oh, these are the new Aussie kids. They're like, they're imports coming over. And I was like, these guys are great. How old is he? 19. I was like, what? And blew my mind. And that's where like a lot of those 18, 19-year-old UK phenoms started like popping up everywhere. Then like, I remember doing a tour, coming back to the UK again, and he had a singles match with Ospreay then. That was like second Super Junior winning Ospreay at the time. And they blew the roof off the place, blew the roof off the house. Incredible. Like, and I was like, okay, this guy's going to arrive soon. And then like now seeing where he's at now, like gaining all the mass that he has, finally growing into his height and his size, that burst of speed that you just don't see from many guys. That's like that new wave of just agility and athleticism. Like, I've been impressed with that man for years. I'm happy to be friends with him in the locker room. But, man, this is my time right now. Understand, this is my time. And now I'm in a position where, like, yeah, I'm impressed with you. I, like, really dig everything you do. And I'm really, like, I really want you to have a great future in this business, especially here in All Elite Wrestling. But understand, like, you going up against Swerve, this is a different type of animal. I always come in with an approach, the fact that like you're going to leave my matches feeling some type of way, either emotionally, mentally, or physically, some way. And that's my choice on how I choose to allow you to leave the ring. And that's the way I'm going to approach tomorrow night, man. Especially this is World Champs, where it's a different animal, and you're going to have to see that. You know, my coordinator here.
You know, it's the first time we get to see you with it, so it's like almost a whole new, style of presentation for you and all that. I want to throw to James.
Yeah, so on a night like the other night, I guess coming to the back or throughout the show, is it a feeling of people are on edge, or is it just a situation where like you're too blinders on, I'm focused on the task at hand, I don't have time to interact? Like what is your, I guess, game plan backstage as everything is winding down and it's time for you, before it's time for you to go out there?
For me, my mental is already there. I'm like the chess player type. If you ever watch Queen's Gambit, I'm looking at moves moving on the ceiling before the game even starts. You know, you move your one chess piece, I'm already like 6 moves in different ways of calculating that. That's how I approach a lot of things. I keep my stress levels low, but I'm also in the realm of motivating others as well. Like Pac and Okada, Pac comes through the locker room and stuff, and I'm like, we're all like praising, like, yo, incredible. Pac's praising Okada, like, yo, that man is unreal, incredible. Then boom, a couple matches later, Thunder Rosa has a banger with Toni Storm, like, yo, proud of you. We got this from the mud and Lucha Underground and stuff. We're bottom of the totem poles up in this, nobody expect us to be here. Now we freaking, like, praise that. Then, like, you're seeing, like, Copeland doing his thing. I'm like, yo, appreciate what you're doing for this locker room, man. Holding it down, TNT champion, like, veteran, mixing up with the young guys. Appreciate the love, And then, like, Ospreay, like, I'm seeing Ospreay's, like, posture and stuff at the monitor right before Gorilla, and I'm like, yo, you know what to do. Slap him, boom, just go do it. Go kill it. And then, like, me coming out, like, getting ready. For me, it was the ceremonial entrance was where I was, like, mentally getting in my mind and, like, how I wanted to present that. I produced that entire entrance as well. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm like getting into that mode. That's what got me into the match. It's like generating all that energy and then hearing the people. So before I even get to the match, it's like I'm worried. It's the entrance and who's the people that I can grab. And luckily, the people are invested. So I'm just like, everybody's feeding me energy. So I was like, oh, I'm there. I'm good. But beforehand, it's more like, let's motivate the rest of this locker room to put on the best show possible before it gets to me finishing and closing it out. You know what I mean?
Lyric?
Yes. So we've seen in your AEW run bring a lot of hip hop influence, a lot of people from outside. So what does World Champion Swerve look like as far as really capitalizing on some of these external partnerships and bringing people in and also exposing AEW to a different audience?
It's that crossover is always one of the very beneficial tools, but we don't like want to overexpose that where it becomes like a fact of you're expecting it. You kind of want to not expect it for it to be like a really like useful tool. So those things I kind of got to keep hush hush, because that's what's going to make the title reign feel a little different than the other ones. Then like, and that's a high bar. It's already been set with like MJF and Moxley 3 times, Kenny, Jericho, Hangman, all those guys set a really high bar with this thing, So it's up to me to kind of find a new way to twist it and make it my own in such a unique way. So, but some of those like little activations and those little things is going to be a little kept hush hush on the low. So you're gonna have to tune in and watch. And that's the beauty of why Swerve is where he is, because you can expect it, but you don't know.
I want to ask one more question to you, Swerve. What about the non-believers? You have a message for those that hated on you, that tried to come for you as soon as you we're ascending. Is there anything that you'd like to, feel free to let it off? There's no FCC here. I know there's a code of conduct that the champion needs to exhibit. I'm gonna give you the floor to let them know.
Well, I see things and I choose to acknowledge them when I choose to. Like, it's really cool the fact that whether you love, hate, you're still watching. And I'll the hate or whatever doubt or non-belief doesn't prevent me from progressing. I hope it helps you progress. I don't think it does. So saying more negativity doesn't increase your pay, but it increases mine. So good luck. But
stay broke, he said. Stay broke.
But all that, the higher I go, the more things I achieve and stuff, the hate is going to continue. And there's nothing I can do about that. Like, if you want to choose to continue to hate, then maybe you got to look at yourself and what you're really, whatever product that you're putting out there, as far as media, podcasts, whatever. Maybe you really need to look inward on why you're doing what you're doing and the messages you're sending. Because on the Swerve City podcast, everybody that comes through is a tool for the world. There is a tool for everybody in our viewership to take something from it and use it to help better themselves or build a product or build whatever, wherever they're stuck at, whatever. We're giving you advice from people that have been successful and have done it at the highest levels possible, and that's tools. Maybe whatever you're producing and put product of hate and putting down someone that is progressing and doing it at the highest level possible, and to put that down, and you're not getting the numbers you desire, your numbers are stagnant or the dropping, or because I don't know what you're doing, and it's not making any impact on the world. So what are you adding to the world, and what are you adding to what are you adding? I want to add to the world, not just be stagnant and take away from it. You know what I mean? So continue to hate, whatever type of controversy you want to try to pull. Hey, you weren't liking it beforehand. You're not going to like it after I acknowledge you. So why should I acknowledge you in the first place? There's no support there. There's no benefit for me or you. And I choose just not to put any energy towards it. I'm going to put energy towards making history. You try to do the same.
Absolutely. Do you have time for a question from the Twitch chat, Swerve?
I got one more. I gave you a lot of nuggets. I'll give you one more.
All right. So one of our subscribers, Zach Porter, he's asking, who do you want to face at Forbidden Door?
Oh, I've been a Shingo fan for 15 years. That's I met him many times, been on shows with him, never worked them. Matter of fact, this Forbidden Door will be the first time I'm on the main show on the Forbidden Door, if you want to really be real. So that's why I was saying, if there's a tool, if I can be a tool or just something a conduit for somebody to take a story and to ride off of that and become something from that, I hope that helps, because last year's Revolution, I wasn't on it. The first year's Revolution, I was debuted. Forbidden Door, haven't done the main card. I haven't been on the main show. All throughout the year, losing throughout the summer, over and over and over again. But I still found a way, and I hopefully that can help people that are stuck in a way that wherever they're doing that. It doesn't have to be wrestling, whatever career they're trying to take on or whatever. Hopefully my story can help inspire y'all to just find a way, but for Forbidden Door, I think Shingo would be one of my best, one of my favorite people that I've watched for years. That'd be someone I would like to tie it up with.
Awesome, man. Any James or Lyric, anything else you want to say to Swerve before he jumps out of here?
No, I think he's been generous enough with my time, or with his time. If Lyric has something,
no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Hey, appreciate you guys. I love what you're doing. I listen every week. Keep going. Hopefully this helps get more people generated to come listen to y'all topics and what y'all do and y'all content, because I enjoy it. And hopefully I want to see y'all do more, do bigger things.
For sure, man. We'll have you back on in an official condition with some proper lighting and everything else too. So
no, I'm the boogeyman, bro. I pop out. Y'all say my name too much. Where y'all talking? Like he said, look at that. See the shirt he's wearing? See the shirt he's wearing? I was like, wear my shirt. I pop out. You never know.
Yeah.
Skirt.
Yes, sir. Amazing. Yeah, didn't know that was going to happen tonight, but so once in a lifetime, kind of thing there. AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland joining us, all-time segment here, I would say on O&R. But sometimes you got to throw the format out.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah. So the rest of Revolution, the rest of Dynasty.
Yeah.
We got back to Toni Storm and Lyric. You look like you're stunned right now. Like
that was crazy. There was no prep for that. But hey, listen, it was great.
Yeah. Dan brings up a great point. We're about to get aggregated on this thing.
Shit.
So.
We are.
Oh man. So yeah, man. I think we were talking about Danielson and Ospreay. Yes. James, what were your thoughts on that match?
I think it's the second or third best match of the decade so far. I think for me personally, the match I have at number one, I'd have still Okada in not Okada, but Omega in Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom last year. Then after that, you start getting into stuff like, the G1 final between Ospreay and Okada, or the, Hangman Hangman and Omega versus the Young Bucks. I think is that short of a list. We were talking about one of the greatest matches of all time, easily, obviously. And a match that, I did not, Danielson at this point, I don't know where he is in my favorite wrestlers of all time thing, but he's somewhere in the top 5. That includes my childhood memories of people. But he just reeled off his best match I've ever seen him have. And, when we did the anniversary show for One Nation Radio, he was the 10-year anniversary show. When we recapped the One Nation Radio era, he was your number 2. He was my number 1 favorite wrestlers of the era. And he just had his pinnacle. Doing that's crazy, right? I never thought that I'd see him wrestle like that. I never thought that, that he had the match that I thought that I was going to see him having against Omega at Grand Slam. They didn't have, they had a match that's more fitting of his particular pacing and everything. But the thing that was crazy was, the anti-air bicycle knee, I saw it coming. I was like, he's going to, no, he's not. And he fucking tagged him perfectly. And I could not believe it. It's outstanding match. If you think it's the greatest match on American soil, I'm not going to disagree, because it's on the short list at the very least. Phenomenal match. And I don't know what the hell is going to have to top that to be match of the year.
Yeah, it's really sensational. And I feel blessed to have been there in person. Like, that crowd was chanting, "We aren't worthy." I've never heard that chant before.
Right.
Anytime you can
early
invent
in
a
the
new
first
chant,
act of the match.
Right. Anytime a new chant gets invented in a match, that's, you're somewhere else with it. Yeah, man. So I guess we can move forward from there. Timeless Toni Storm defeats Thunder Rosa. And I thought this was one of the best Toni Storm matches of her title reign. And, an excellent showing for Thunder Rosa, who had, kind of been searching for something to get her back to, the level that we were used to, seeing her perform at. I actually ran into her after the show. And she was like, "You didn't expect that, did you?" And I was like, I mean, I know who you are, like, like I've gone to bat for you before. So, it was, she seemed really happy with the match after. And I was, just looking at it like, hey, man, like, all she has to do is like spin off into something with Deonna Purrazzo, and she can, and Mercedes is still out there as well. Looming, because once these programs end, people need landing spots. So like when someone loses, I'm like, all right, cool. Who's going to land from this side? And then who's going to link up in the future? And I think, this was a huge match for Thunder Rosa, even though in defeat.
Yeah, I think this match really surprised me. It ended up being one of my favorite matches of the night. And I will say, obviously, a lot of people have voiced this criticism is that Toni Storm has been doing incredible character work, but her in-ring work has suffered. And as a huge Toni Storm fan, I completely agree. But I don't know what happened. I don't know what Azumi did to her at Collision. I have no idea, but she took my good sister back to Korakuen Hall, and I was just so proud. I was just so proud because I'm a huge Toni Storm fan. I was actually in the building the night that she debuted in AEW. And so like I've always felt like she's one of these great wrestlers, but she never really found the place where she fits. But I feel like she's found that with AEW, but then like with the mic work started getting better, but then the ring work, and it's just been hard, but she finally found the balance. This is the first AEW Women's World Title match that is felt like a world title match in a very long time. In my opinion, I think this is Toni's best match since she lost her first title to Jamie Hayter at Full Gear 2022. And when it comes to Thunder Rosa, this was a huge return to form for her because I think that like a lot of, how do I say it, of just like for the Thunder Rosas and the Britt Bakers, this is a completely different division than when they were clearly the top program. And it was interesting that it was interesting for me to see where Thunder Rosa was going to end up, in this, and like what would her role be? And like Thunder Rosa isn't always the most polished wrestler, but she makes up for that in intensity. And I tweeted that because when the girls fight her, they know they're in for a fight. She's brawling. Like she made Toni Storm, she beat her out her makeup. Like, it was just, it's a fight. When you go up against Thunder Rosa, she gives everything she has, and she has that intensity. And I think that a lot of the girls in the locker room need that. And so I think that this match was really, really Thunder Rosa reaffirming that, she's still that girl and she's still a very important part of that locker room. But this match was really, really, really good. They really delivered.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match, and I knew early on that they were on to something different from what Toni Storm had been giving us, prior, aside from a couple flashes here, like with Riho or with Azumi. And I snarky message to my friends like, damn, like Rosa clubbing on her like she Brit. And I was like, oh, we're on to something. And sure enough, I think we got Toni Storm's best match as a timeless gimmick. I think so. Or at least the one I enjoyed. Well, second most aside from Azumi, because I love Azumi. But I was really, as someone that is tickled very much often with Toni Storm's character, I just couldn't get past the part where it's like, all right, you had the build up with Deonna's introduction to AEW. You built a story that was obvious to feel as a watcher, as a viewer, but the match happened and there was just they just wanted to have basically like, just roll around, right? Like there was no striking, and it suffered from that. So to see her, kind of figure this out, I'm happy because like I enjoy her, but like if she's going to be coming out here and giving me those kind of matches before that were dissatisfying, it's like, nah, you got to come off it. So I'm happy that we can continue this if this is what she's going to continue giving us. So I hope she's figured this out. I hope she's figured out and go forward because, I don't know what the future holds for, someone like a Britt returning or a Jamie returning, but I think it would be big for the division if they were to come back and they were to face Toni Storm.
No doubt.
I do agree about that. I am interested to see who the next challenger is. Maybe it is Mina Shirakawa. Maybe they do get her. I thought
could be Mariah.
I don't think that they're going to have Mariah until Wembley. I think like that match is clearly being built for Wembley. Mariah's from London. That's her hometown.
It could be that or Jamie. Yeah, because
so I feel like it should be Jamie because it's directly a year. And so I feel like somebody has to return because right now the women's title
just not Saraya.
Is not her.
Just not Saraya.
Not Deanna either. I don't want to see Deanna in the world title picture. No offense or anything, but I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And also Thunder Rosa, I feel like they've gotten all the juice out of that orange for right now. Like I feel like we need to see new faces in this women's title. And I thought that person would possibly be Chris Statlander, but clearly she's involved in another story. So yeah, some more girls need to be elevated. And so I feel like the only way to do that is a return right now.
Athena.
Oh, well, yes. Well, yes. Listen, nobody would be happier than me for... That's actually a really great idea.
I know.
Because Athena, she debuted at Double or Nothing. Like, that was where her original AEW debut was. And so it would be great if her re-debut AEW pay-per-view match is Double or Nothing challenging for the AEW title. If anybody deserves a chance to be double belted up, double world titled up, it's her. Miss 500 days today. Athena, absolutely. Oh, wow. I'm here for it. 500 days today.
I think the thing this is proven is like we have viable options in a way that did not feel like that they were 2 years ago.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next match, FTW Championship match, Chris Jericho versus Hook.
Do we have
16 minutes and 34 seconds? Something like that?
16:34. I was in the building. Man, thunderous chants all throughout this match.
They said, will you please retire? Please retire.
Yes.
Wrestlers typically aren't capable of chanting that many syllables.
There was another chant, too. I think it was like, go home, Jericho, go home, or something like that.
Can we go through can we go through the part where like we're talking about Jericho getting all these chants and like he wasn't the worst wrestler in the match, performance wise?
Speak on it. Speak on it.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this since Hook showed up. Like he got over as the meme thing. He's a quiet kid, doesn't talk or whatever else. And he started having the matches, and he have the few moves, whatever else.
Fozzy sucks.
And like for me, I was like, hey, yeah, Fozzy sucks. That was the first chant, I think. And for me, it was like, hey, that's cool. But when I watch him, some don't seem right. And then as he's having more matches, it's like, oh, I know it doesn't seem right. He knows how to do moves, but he looks untrained as far as his movements and all sorts and other things as well. And like, if I actually, knew the technical terms for all this stuff, I can elaborate to you, but like you watch him and it's like, one thing that's always stuck out is his strikes have always sucked. Right. But like, as he's throwing suplexes to Jericho, it's like, he's a person that has no business throwing suplexes to Jericho in this particular manner because like he gets him up, hurts him up in his stalls because like he's not strong enough to lift a guy that much heavier than him. And it keeps coming out, it keeps coming off looking not great, if you will. So like, yeah, he's in there with Jericho and Jericho's clearly calling this match on the fly. You can hear him calling spots and like, he's just doing what he's told. And I think Jericho had a good match, but Hook's only but so good. And as Hook's doing the running, on the floor, running with the trash can, like, he's a college athlete. That didn't look like no college athlete to me. He looked like a goofy backyarder.
I was tuned out for half of that match. So like, I don't remember half of it, but I do agree. I think Hook, the match with Samoa Joe Hook should have been taken off TV and probably sent on excursion, do something. Like, I think that, and he would have came back an absolute monster.
Where we sending him though?
I think, listen, he could have, I genuinely believe that, especially with the best of the Super Juniors lineup right now, and essentially with the fact that Yo ended up getting injured, so there ended up being a whole nother spot opened up, Hook could have greatly benefited from being a part of that tournament. easily benefited from being a part of New Japan Best of the Super Juniors. And, you know, I'm not saying it still could happen, but I think Taguchi's injury status is now a question mark. So will he be cleared for the tournament or not? But I think that Hook more so than anybody, because you have to think is with his age and also and not taking indie bookings, like this is going to have to come from somewhere. Like, where is it going to come? Where this repetition has to come from somewhere.
I have a suggestion. Like you said, you mentioned like Best of Super Juniors. I think that's a little bit too lofty of an extent of expectation for him. But I think I have a place that where we can send him. Have you ever heard of Ichigawa Chocolate Square?
Are you talking about Uganda?
No. I'm talking about Emi Sakura's. I'm talking about Tenshin Choco.
Oh
yes. Send his ass over there with the rest of them.
Or Marvelous, or Marvelous. I think I agree.
Takumi.
Listen, I think send him to Noah. There's a couple places that could really use him. Noah. I feel like DDT gets underrated because they actually do make people work.
I was getting off jokes. I was getting off jokes as far as saying like the level of the jankiness of the skill. That's what I was getting. I was actually being serious. If you want to send them to soft ground wrestling Uganda, we can do that. Listen,
I'm so much
trying to get Africa. You know what I should ask? You know what I should ask when Swerve was on? I should ask, can you ask Tony Khan if he saw my tweet about him looking at the river match or the dirty pond match? I'm trying to see if we can get SGW Uganda on Forbidden Door. They need the help. They can't bring House of Torture through.
They hooping. Listen, even Kenny Omega said, he said he fucking with what they doing. The thing is, I'm a nerd, so like when anybody was just like, oh well, I will go down like 10 different Japanese organizations, be like, oh yeah, maybe we can send here. I get you. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to Hook, like I know his contract is up soon, and part of me with the Jericho stuff, I'm like, is he being punished? At first I was like, is he being punished? And then, but also at the same time, it's kind of like, I genuinely do think that Samoa Joe match that he had was perfect. And I had hoped that it was going to be the start of something new and fresh, but that has not been the case. And honestly, I said this on Keeks' show last night. I believe there's a lot of money down the line in a Chris Jericho retirement tour. With as loved as he is around the world, with as accomplished as he is, he has roots with some of the most historic wrestling promotions all over the world. However, the longer that he keeps trying to force this shit on people and like force it down their throats, it's like you're taking dollars away from every single, you're literally taking an ass out of a seat out of your building. And at this point, we might not be able to fill up a basic auditorium, Jericho, at the rate that you're going. You think you Sting? You want to know one of the best things you want to know why Sting is so loved? You want to know one of the best things?
Because everyone legitimately thinks he's a nice guy. That's why.
Yes, and Sting knows how to shut the fuck up and sit down.
That's the right part of it.
He doesn't talk. He does not bother nobody. And like Jericho cannot shut up. He can't stop. He can't help himself. And it's just like, buddy, pal. Like, even if you don't like Jericho, at some point you probably did. Like, I grew up thinking he was one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And it's just like, buddy, you think that people gonna pack out of a Tokyo Dome to one day see you wrestle again? You're not gonna be able to pack out a 7-Eleven soon if you don't stop. That's why they can't play Judas anymore. It's not about that Lionheart shit. They can't play Judas anymore because everybody stopped singing. That's why he get the quick entrance on Dynamite, and then we get the business. They can't do Judas anymore.
I think I'm the last or one of the last people that's still on Jericho Island. I think this guy, yeah.
Rich, do you remember what Trick Daddy's feature was on Trap Music? You remember the name of that song?
No. What was it?
Well, I was gonna say for you, sir, are last of a dying breed.
Last of a dying breed. Yeah. Okay. Dying breed.
Yeah. Look, I like Jericho, but I'm like, as Lear just said on the Revolution review we did, I said, hey man, Jericho need to go and try to get him a retirement show like this. And I don't know if they've ever heard us say that shit, but now here we are months later, and now we have a guest on here saying, hey, Jericho needs to
he needs to shut up. Like, as a person who knows international wrestling, listen, Chris Jericho has roots. And he can, like, his retirement tour.
People walking to CMLL right now, and
his retirement tour could probably be bigger than Sting's if we want to talk about it. Just because Jericho did have a long WWE run, Sting, had that run, but he never really like played the game with WWE. But Jericho did. He can literally go anywhere. He can have the best retirement run we've ever seen, better than Sting, better than Muta, but. It's just like, he can't process that he's 50 something, like he's a veteran now. Like, it's like he genuinely believes that, like, when we talking about like AEW booting up like the Titans, like Ospreay, Swerve, all them, he thinks he's right there with him. Like, he's just like, let's go. Like, we are on the team. He thinks he's on the team.
Because it is funny because, like,
because he's still doing business, he's still in those quarter hours.
Well, that, and also he's the tragic rock star. That is a story. That is a story of our 80s rock stars that aged out and didn't know when to let it go, or that didn't end up burning out because of the boozing and the drugging and the lifestyle. The ones that stuck around, they didn't know when to hang it up.
Absolutely. And I think especially with AEW, he feels so protective over it, which he should, right? Yeah. Like, whether you like Jericho or not, AEW would not exist without him. And that is 100% the truth. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much money that you have, you need legitimate players to back your claim when you're trying to get TBS and TNT back into the wrestling business after all they've been through. And Jericho was that name that cemented that TV deal. Yep. However, as we're now looking upon 5 years later, we're looking towards the next TV deal, and the roster has filled up and out of anybody's expectations or wildest dreams. There really isn't a place for him anymore. He went from genuinely being the actual bread and butter of this organization to worthless in 5 years, and we are watching him self-destruct because he doesn't know how to handle it. And like,
I wouldn't say he's worthless because, like,
worthless in his current role.
Yeah. He can't get anybody over because he's been putting people over for like 2 years now.
Absolutely. Okay. He's worthless in his current role because I think, I do believe that there is a lot of value in what Jericho brings to the table, even in 2024. His Rampage commentary was not bad at all. Like, I think, and he's one of those wrestling minds to where even if he wanted to bring some of the people might not like him, I don't listen to his podcast regularly, but even the clips from it, even if he wanted to bring some of that Talk is Jericho stuff to AEW, I feel like, having
what type, like the one he had.
No. I'm talking about like when he interviews like some of the talent, like
okay.
Like that AEW talent.
Not on here.
Flat Earth motherfuckers.
None of the other stuff. None of that. Okay. I'm talking about strictly like the talent interviews. But I do think, and honestly, like him going off to Arena Mexico, him going off to Tokyo, because clearly you don't want to go home. So like that is what there are partners. There are so many international partners for you. Like that's what they're for. That's literally what they're for. If you don't want to go home, okay, we can work around that.
You think he ain't going home?
Jericho out, like you got to ring Jericho out like Andre the Giant.
I think it's one of those things too. It's just because you never watch like a big New Japan show, and in those first 3 matches they bring all the old niggas out.
Yeah.
And you want to know what I appreciate about those matches? I appreciate that all of those guys know their place. And like, if they want to wrestle more, they know they got to go somewhere else to do it. Like Yuji Nagata was not asking for IWGP title shots in 2023. He just went to All Japan. He said, okay, I'll do that little shit. I'll do that. I'm not even going to try y'all like that. Man, if I really wanted to keep doing this outside of these 6-man tags on the G1 final, I will go elsewhere to do it. I'll come check in with y'all on holidays. Jericho's not one of those people because he doesn't consider himself, he doesn't associate himself with the rest of them. Like, he genuinely doesn't think like, oh, I'm with the Minoru Suzuki's or the Nagatas, or I'm not like
temporary guy.
He think he's the now. He's the now. He's like, if you hear him talk, I'm better than I've ever been. I am in a whole new, space. I'm evolving again. He done started reserving all them trademarks. I know the trademark office is tired. I know that trademark office is tired. Because he done registered so much shit, ain't use half of it. But he just be registered.
Hey, you gotta have it just in case. You gotta make a quick dollar,
and which I respect, but it's just like at this point, Christopher, nobody was planning to take it from you. Like it's one of those things. Nobody was planning to take it from you, and it's just. I think, especially as an international fan, I think that AEW could really benefit from an actual ambassador with some of their international partners, especially as they're navigating this relationship with CMLL, the relationship with New Japan. And guess what? Chris Jericho could be a perfect person to do that.
So like when we get Forbidden Door, like we put Jericho in the suit next to Tanahashi, and we have President Ace and President Lionheart or President Y2J. That's what we do now? Okay, fair enough.
I think, like, even if it's not the truth, which I hope is not the truth, like even if it's like a Booker or something, like I just think that there's better ways to utilize him. Like I said, nobody's worthless. Nobody's worthless. Everybody has value, and like whether you like Chris Jericho or not, he has been very important to the future of AEW. Like the entire existence of the company. If they had a Hall of Fame right now, top 5 people, he would be in it. But him wrestling is not in the best interest of where the company is going. And I say this especially now, and I said this on Keith's show last night, because guys, this is only going to get worse.
I know, but it's funny that you like, look, it is not in the best interest of Chris Jericho to be wrestling in All Elite Wrestling.
Well, yes, because the name is All Elite. You are no longer elite.
Well, let's be real. It ain't never been all elite wrestling. It's been some mid wrestling too. Now let's not.
Absolutely, but it's finally a point now where it doesn't have to be mid wrestling anymore. Which means, and it's like, how like when you're shutting down a party and you're telling everybody to leave, and it's always like one person.
He's sticking around.
It's always one person like, yeah, y'all need to get up out of here. Like, nigga, I'm talking to you too. I'm talking to you too. So I am.
Hell no.
Well, look, you mentioned it earlier, right? There is a great reason why he don't want to go home, because if he go home, he got to go backtrack to 1,203 days ago to where his wife was. So that's why he don't want to go home.
I get
yes,
that.
I pulled the date calculator.
Like, yes, I get that, but also, guys, like, truly, even for the biggest Jericho truthers, I need everybody to realize that if he's not stopped soon, this is only going to get worse. And you want to know why? I have 2 reasons. Number 1, Forbidden Door. He will find his way on that card. And you know what? He got away with it, right? Especially when Sting was still around. So, like, we could do an all-star veteran tag, so like Suzuki Gods. But, like, seriously, do you raise your hand if you actually want to see Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara team up on another Forbidden Door card again? No. And let's be honest, that's the only place where he would fit, because God forbid he gets a singles match. Like,
I mean,
you're going to have to be in like an 8-man tag or something.
He got that title.
He does have that title.
You know what's even worse? I'm taking it worse. Honestly, I will say this as a true Puro truther. I try not to tweak out too bad and be like that Puro truther, but if Jericho defended that FTW belt on the main card at Forbidden Door, I am afraid of who I will become. I'm genuinely afraid. The amount of nasty things that would exit my mouth, things that I can't even fathom or put into words right now, because that's just not who I am. But I know I will become my biggest fear. I will become my worst enemy that night. If I see the FTW title defended on Forbidden Door, we got a problem. And that's not it. That's not all. That's not even the worst part.
The worst part is now that you saying this, now it's like, I don't mind if they spent 25 minutes off to that. I just want to see what Lyric got to say.
But no, that's
not even want to not just more curiosity. You got me want to be like, what can they possibly do? What's the nastiest thing they can do? They're gonna do him versus Kenta. What him versus Tanahashi again?
Why would you say that? No, listen, don't he? Good God. They Jericho.
Look, the roster is star. You know, again.
Jericho right and Hiroshi Tanahashi have a quarter of one knee between them both.
But the last time they had a match, it was 4.5 stars. Never mind the time has passed. Don't worry about that.
Why was 2018?
Why can't they? Why don't you think they
2020
can't just give us one?
Enough. Absolutely not. And guess what? And if the Forbidden Door stuff isn't already terrible, you want to know what's really bad? It's All In. Because if you think, and listen, Jericho still feels responsible. Jericho still believes that he made Will Ospreay a star at Wembley. Like, he believes, he said, that's all me. You know, Lil Will. Like,
that's all me.
He said, that's all me right there. That's all me. I made him a star, put him over. And it was so crazy. Like we're talking about it now. So let's go all the way back. Remember during that framing, heading into All In, Ospreay was framing the summer of Ospreay. All these people that he beat. Classic with Kenny Omega. Classic with Shingo Takagi. This amazing match with Yota Tsuji. And then this nigga Jericho trying to be like, yeah, I was in the list too. Like, you know, on the list. He think he on the team. He thinks he's on the team. And that what I'm really scared of is that one, Chris Jericho is going to demand a singles match at All In at Wembley. And then two, I kind of feel what he's going to do. I kind of feel what he's going to do, and it scares me. He's going to be like, oh, I want to create a new star. So what he's going to do, he's going to go down to Rev Pro, and he's going to try to get a singles match with him and Oku. Yeah. Because we know he's liked Oku ever since Bola.
That's a sloppy match waiting to happen between those two.
And now that Oku is the undisputed,
gonna teach you how to work. Gonna teach you how to work, Oku.
And 9 times out of 10, Oku is going to lose the title the night before to Luke Jacobs because that match has already been made for Rev Pro 12th anniversary. And he's going to, and listen, the thing is, they already got their eyes on Oku. We figured that out with the Ospreay match. Tony Khan was right there in York Hall when it happened.
I could have told you that I could have told you that back in 2020. Back before Ospreay was even going to AEW.
And then Jericho, he's going to be like, Tony, I really like this guy, man. I think that I think he's just a superstar, man. And I think that I could do something with him. And I think we should get him on the Wembley card. And
Jericho about to help brothers out?
He's going to convince himself.
You against this?
He's going to convince himself he is a hero. And here's the thing. I'm so conflicted about that because I love Michael.
Sound like you're helping a black man to me.
I'm so conflicted. I love
like you don't walk into it now.
I love Michael Oku.
That man is Lyric is anti-black out here. Unbelievable.
Listen, I love Michael Oku. I love Michael Oku. He's been on my show before.
She's become anti-black.
I'm a huge fan of Michael Oku, but is this who we are? Is this what we represent? Is this like truly? I think I would be sick because it's just like, oh, Michael Oku at Wembley could change the whole course of his career, and I would be so proud to see that. But also,
you don't want to change his life at the expense of Jericho getting another shot.
That there we go. At the same time, if Michael Oku's debut into AEW is Jericho, I'm not sure if he'll ever be able to make that momentum up. That shouldn't be anybody's first feud. And for Michael Oku, I think he has a very, very prosperous career in front of him. And when he finally makes that crossover, I want him to be put in the best possible position to succeed. Not because Jericho is using this poor man to get on that card. Because, listen, and the crazy thing is, as soon as I said it, everybody agreed. Because y'all know, it sounds like him. It sounds like something he would do.
Yes, real quick, I want to address some of this in the comments. Hey, man, Darius the God, you called him Chris Mandela. Hey, Rich.
Martin Luther Jericho. Who said that?
Rich. Put him on timeout or something. Nah, we can't. No.
Hey, so I hear everything Lyric was saying, and she made a lot of salient points. I love Chris Jericho, always have since 1996. I just got like pretty much one sentence to really just sum it all up in response. Never count out Chris Jericho. That's all.
It's. I think him winning the Taz's belt is actually going to do something as far as give him something to do. But like it's been a lot of just weird time, weird place, weird circumstances. The whole stupid Nick Hausman shit. Like it's all snowballed on him, and he can't figure out how to stop him going downhill.
I think it's one of those things. How do I say this? It's one of those things when you got a lot of the odds stacked against you, but you're still one of the best wrestlers in the world. And so at the end of the day, like you can say, like when that bell rings, I'm him. Right now, when that bell rings, he is not him. And also, I think the thing with Jericho is that I'm not going to sit here and act like his entire AEW run has been ass, because that's not true. Right. And I think one of the things that he doesn't get enough credit for is how good his Ring of Honor world title run was. Because he did a lot for that belt. But the thing was, Jericho came out of that sickness that he had, and he came back so much healthier. Yep. And he was in better shape. He was performing on all cylinders. He had a great set of matches with diverse opponents. Yep. And he was holding his own every single week. Bandito, Ishii, he was killing it with these guys. And I will be completely honest about that. But with this FTW run, let's be real with ourselves. Number one, the FTW championship doesn't have any lineage or any weight. So, like, one, where are you going to pull this criteria for the competitors? Oh, and then two,
Jericho going to tell you what it is. The FTW belt will be whatever Jericho says it is. Right.
And yes, and that's how we're going to end up watching 12-minute singles matches with ECW originals who can barely walk.
They gonna bring Sabu back?
I was gonna
say, y'all, you said old ECW. Let him come out there.
Jericho versus RVD.
After the way that Sabu did the dash on GCW about that Hall of Fame, does anybody want to invite Sabu anywhere?
Because I respected Sabu more for not showing up to GCW.
Look, don't get me wrong, it was very on character. But does Sabu really want to show up anywhere? I think he just wants to check.
Look. Given how they did that match where he was enforced for that Jericho and Adam Cole match or whatever else, and he failed and it was awful, I want to see that again because it was fucking hilarious.
It was hilarious. Now, it was hilarious, but like, let's just be real, guys. Like, I will say, that's another thing about AEW fans right now. I feel like we have to be very careful when we say like, oh, this is going to be the funniest thing ever, because guess what? They will fuck around and do it. And then people be like, then people always want to be like, well, why would they do this? Because y'all didn't tell whether you were joking or not.
I'm full on joking. And I'll say this. If you want to book something exclusively for my sensibilities and for my humor, go ahead. But if you lose your ass on the house, that's on you for listening to my dumb ass. Right? I want all sorts of goofy shit in my wrestling at times. Right? But like, you just ain't gotta. You don't have to listen to me. I'm more focused on what's going to work best for everybody, right? Or for most amount of people that are watching AEW. The people don't want to see Sabu, but I'm interested to see what he comes up with. I'm willing to give him a chance on this. Now I'm firmly in the camp that you are, where it's like, hey, it's time to wrap. He might need to wrap this up. But if he's gonna continue to try, he's trying something that I think like gives him a healthier outlook than what he was currently in right now.
My thing is like, why does Jericho not want to fight old niggas? Like, like everybody else, like, why does he not like fighting anybody between the age of 40 and 60? Like, he like insists on working with the young guys.
Like, you mean a program?
Well, that's
yes.
I think he genuinely thinks he's giving people experience in the quote unquote rub by wrestling the younger guys. And mileage varies on that from time to time.
Because like he gets like nothing. Like I remember he brought up Matt Hardy or Edge as an example. He's like, I don't want to wrestle Edge. Like, what would I do that for? We already did it for one. And Jericho's wrestled everybody except like the Hearts, essentially, like the last like 30 years.
He'll be able to wrestle them.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because of WWE. But yeah, man. We should probably keep it rolling. Jericho did.
Dr. Lariat, get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out.
Oh,
get him out. Get him out.
I've been called for that.
No.
Hey, pause. Hey.
Memphis Street Fight?
Hear me out. There's very few Chris Jericho matches in 2024 that I think could legitimately entertain me.
Go. Finish your point. There has never been a time when Double J has been booked and I wasn't entertained. Now, one thing about Big Jeff Jarrett, listen, I am kind of upset with everybody who kind of bullied AEW to stop putting him in the TV. I never wanted them to stop. Did I believe that he should have been on Dynamite every week? Absolutely not. But Jeff Jarrett is responsible for some of the most entertaining moments in AEW history, and I'm ready for people to start putting respect on his name. I'm ready for it. And I would like to see this match, I will say, because Jericho thinks that that's the thing. Like, if Jericho thinks he's this immovable force, like he will never die in wrestling, Jeff Jarrett is that in so much more. So
there's an old match. I believe they did wrestle in 1997 on WCW Saturday Night. I think that's the only time they've ever done it. I'm saying, you talk yourself long enough into Jericho. My point proven. Never count them out, baby. Let's go.
To Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett could wrestle a broom tomorrow, and I would watch. Just to be quite honest.
Oh man. Oh, James is flabbergasted right now.
He is disgusting.
I'm so disappointed. So disappointed. It's bad enough I gotta hear this Jarrett bullshit from Rich on a monthly basis. Now I gotta hear from Lyric.
The thing about me is that
we just talked down. We just said we need to wrap this shit up for like 15 minutes, and then we bring out Jarrett versus Jericho. Well, maybe.
I'm really glad that you said that, because that is a perfect example of the power of sitting down somewhere. Because guess what? A couple months ago, we were having the same conversation about Jeff Jarrett. He's overexposed. He's on TV too much. But then he sat down, and guess what? Some people actually miss him. That might not be you. That's not your testimony.
It damn sure ain't me.
It's mine. It's mine. And I think that Chris Jericho could really benefit. He could benefit from that. Taking some time off, let the people miss you. And now, because guess what? When we hear that Bree Woo, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up, whether you like it or not. And I'm just saying, I think that Jeff Jarrett is the perfect example to use here.
I'm only sad Jeff Jarrett wasn't backstage.
Jeff Jarrett didn't draw a single dime. He didn't put a single ass in a single seat. We were talking about Chris Jericho. I understand what your point is, but my point is this. These are not of same caliber level players. We are talking about somebody that's here and somebody that's fucking here. Right?
Well, yes, you are correct, because Jeff Jarrett is fantastic. I agree.
No,
we are not talking about the same caliber.
No,
you are correct.
No,
absolutely.
No,
well, yeah.
No.
This is go off the rails.
No. Now, like, don't. You've been make me go through cage match, make sure that I'm not losing my fucking mind over here. All right, let's not do this. You making me feel like you trying to gaslight me. Stop this. Stop.
Yo.
Listen, my thing is, when it comes to Jeff Jarrett, I just, especially his AEW matches I remember my first pay-per-view that I went to in person was Full Gear 22, and like seeing him and Sting jump off of things, that really moved me. Like that was for me, especially like for me. I didn't grow up watching a lot of non-WWE wrestling, but I did watch TNA. And I'm not gonna lie, the TNA content sometimes it pops me. I hate that about myself. I realize that as a wrestling fan,
I figured it out, James.
This is her nostalgia.
Exactly, it's my nostalgia.
You was talking that shit about WWE and their nostalgia.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about your nostalgia.
100%.
Okay.
Hear me out. And I say this because I don't act on my nostalgia very often. I really don't. I don't. It doesn't get my taste. My nostalgia does not get met very often. But Jeff Jarrett's run in AEW has been able to do that for me. That is my nostalgia. That is my truth.
The Grinch's heart has grown 3 times larger, huh?
Exactly. And I know I am one of those people who has these very strict wrestling standards. I do have very high standards on wrestling, but I do think that we all have our soft spots and guilty pleasures.
And yours is that someone bust someone over the head with a fucking guitar. All right, fair enough. I thought that. No. That's the only. That is the only redeeming quality of Jeff Jarrett on TV ever.
Oh, I was about to say, you don't feel the adrenaline in your veins when that shit happens? Like,
personally, I like when he takes his fist and he puts it way down here by his ankle.
Fucking Memphis Get the fuck out of here, man. That's the best thing about all the credit discourse about him talking about, the wrestling faces, this and the third. Is like, you worked in Memphis. It's the most unwritten punches you ever seen in your life.
You know what I love about Jeff Jarrett too, especially in relation, because like Jericho is always trying to invent something new. Sometimes it works, it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't, right? And he's all these trademarks. But Jeff Jarrett knows that he would never ever say something funnier than slap nuts. And so he's just gonna keep saying it. There will never be anything funnier than that. You could think yourself out of a box and have all these cool catchy slogans, etc. But there will never be anything more entertaining than saying slap nuts and hitting somebody over the head with a guitar. It's just not. He knows his audience, and unfortunately, that audience is me.
Personally, I like Ain't I Great a good deal too.
Exactly. I mean, Double J, man, and also what he inspires me. The job security that he has kept over the last couple of years. That man, in one summer, he was a guest referee at SummerSlam. He performed in Ric Flair's last match.
Of the year. We got the award for a reason.
Right, he performed in Ric Flair's last match and was on Dynamite 2 weeks later. Generational bag getting and keeping. Gotta respect it.
The Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year has been an award that was named after him. Now, he was banned for the first 8 years from winning it, but we decided to put him on the ballot for 1 year. And not only did he still win the award anyway, he stiff armed KG Muto out of there. KG Muto, he stiff armed, which was quite a feat.
Jeff Jarrett started 2 different promotions, still managed a way to get back on good terms with WWE long enough to get in the Hall of Fame, and then dipped immediately afterwards. I don't know, that's generational right there. That's generational. That's kind of crazy.
Look, all we are is a couple bad Triple H decisions away from The Rock calling up his old buddy from Memphis. There's somebody that's been in the wrestling business to run this. We this close.
Well, you saying this as if bad decisions haven't already been made by Triple H.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time, y'all. I swear we'll be here all day if we want to talk about that.
I gotta tell y'all, I love y'all, but hell, this has been hell. Can we move on?
Tough white man.
Y'all know that I fucking hate this. That's why y'all kept going. Can we move on, please? You goddamn trolls.
The tough white man match: Roger Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Man, listen.
Let's get it.
This shit right here. Listen. outside of Ospreay and Danielson, which is, we know, like, that's amazing, that on top. But for my taste in wrestling, which is very stiff, very violent, this shit right here, nigga, A+++++. Like, it's very rare you see white men just hit each other like that. Like, no flippy shit. Like, it was just very, you know what I realized? Ospreay versus Danielson felt kind of like a charcuterie board, right? Anything that you could want out of wrestling, they had a little bit of it here, a little bit of it there. Mm-hmm. Kyle versus Roddy was one-dimensional as fuck. And I loved it. And I think that sometimes, like, some people, I love matches that are one-dimensional. Like, if we decide, like, we just gonna hit each other all day, let's do it. And that's exactly what they did. I'm gonna be honest, the build to this match is terrible.
Yep.
I don't care about Undisputed Kingdom at all. I don't care that Adam Cole can walk again.
Same.
I just genuinely don't care about that. This match was good because...
I'm sorry. I gotta stop you. I always make it a habit not to, like, cut off in the middle of the steam. I'm sorry about this. But we can't let you ride with saying I don't care if he never walk again. You was on a roll and I was damn near
let me clarify.
Praise God's hallelujahs, and then I heard I rewound what you said. Like, oh, we gotta pause.
Let me do clarify.
We need him to walk. Come on now.
Let me do clarify. I am glad that Adam Copeland can walk. What I wanted to say, what I was trying, not Copeland, Cole.
Okay.
Cole.
All right, continue.
Sorry,
I just had to stop you. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to clarify that I feel like so much of the story has hinged on, like, oh, we're going to start back when Adam Cole is healthy again.
Don't care.
Like, I just don't care.
Same.
Like, I genuinely don't care. I don't care if this shit ever restarts.
Same.
And I think that what Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong did was so phenomenal. And that was because they are phenomenal. It had nothing to do with any of this Undisputed Kingdom shit. And honestly, now I want to see both of them removed from this.
Yes.
Because from Roddy, I feel like constantly being in the Adam Cole verse has really watered him down. Like, even like when he was in the wheelchair gimmick, he wasn't wrestling and he was cleared. You know, it's just like Roddy is one of those people. You forget how much of a dog he is in the ring because we don't get to see him wrestle as much. And he is fantastic. Like, genuinely one of the best wrestlers in the world. And when you think about his size and to be that good and to hit that hard, it's kind of insane. And then Kyle O'Reilly, I feel like this was his coming out party in the sense of saying, like, y'all, like, I'm 100% cleared. Like, fuck injury, I hear that. Like, I'm here. This was a fantastic match that won't get the credit it deserves because it is stuck in a story that feels like it's never going to end.
Right.
And we all stopped caring about somewhere between Full Gear and World's End, but we're still subject to being indoctrinated by this shit so much longer, and I'm tired.
Okay. So I never forgot for one single solitary second that Roddy was Roddy because Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly is my favorite NXT tag team of all time. And when Kyle went solo, he was chasing after the NXT title, whatever else. He had a classic with Balor where he broke his fucking jaw and everything. And I was just sold on the dude. Like, that's Justin Gaethje as a fucking pro wrestler. That's the dude. And I already was, a huge fan of him as the tag guy, right? And both iterations of Undisputed Era were him or with Bobby Fish. And I was just like, I believe in this dude. If he just has a chance, he's going to wrestle his way to a spot in AEW. And he did it. He did it through the Owen Hart tournament. And then his neck, his neck and everything, he's injured. He was gone for 2 years. And I was just, I was like, damn. And then, Roddy shows up and Roddy immediately hits the ground running with the Jericho match. That was awesome. And then they put him in the fucking wheelchair with the neck brace thing in another fucking Owen tournament, which I guess is a curse for undisputed guys. And then they just made him a fucking sucker. No, you can't respect Adam and whatever. He's too much of a joke. You can't take it seriously. And then, they made him the champion. And it's like, they do the match. It's like, okay, well, Kyle's back. They're going to have a match. I'm excited for the match. I know what these two can do together. Because I know these are two of the best, most talented guys in the world. But the crowd doesn't give a fuck about it because it's a dead end feud that doesn't have much going for it for Jews because this faction is dead on arrival and the main guy is still out. So I'm like, this, whatever, man, whatever.
Well,
so I'm watching the match go and I'm just like, they are beating the piss out of each other and I'm loving it. And like, it harkens me back to like that 2020 Tough White Man Division NXT where you had people like those two, Tommaso Ciampa, Cameron Grimes, people that were going out there, they were just there hidden in just in the fucking LA Fitness. There was no only fans that are employees. So yeah, I was happy to see this match back, and that was killing me. And they was killing each other. I loved it. I loved that match, and they kept wrestling their ass off so hard that the crowd that didn't give a flying fuck about either one of them or that match finally got into it. I loved this match.
I did.
Good old white on white crime, man.
I was saying I already rewatched it. It's one of the best matches. Like I said, for my personal takes, seeing of the sadism and the sicko shit that I like out of wrestling, this was perfect.
Yeah, like I said, it was some good old white on white crime. Yeah. I enjoyed seeing, the hatred and the distrust amongst these savage, animalistic like individuals. You just see them leave it all in the ring. I'm glad Kyle O'Reilly's back. I think he's, I think the hair is throwing some people off. Tunnel Talk actually has some jokes about Kyle O'Reilly. Is like, you better never ask him what he's been through because he's just been through like unspeakable and unseeable things. The terrors, yes.
He showed up at Revolution. It looked like he had saw and committed heinous acts.
Yeah.
I don't even get like crazy looks from him. It's more so he looks like a puppy.
A puppy that ain't been allowed to sleep for 3 days.
It's like the big eyes. Like, he looks like a tired puppy. Like he looks like an exhausted puppy.
He looked like he got out of Dodge at nick time before he was about to pull his fingernails out.
Oh,
that's what he looked like. He been held in bondage.
That was pretty specific. Okay, that sounds pretty accurate. It was pretty accurate.
I need Kyle O'Reilly to go back to the redhead, to the ginger one. I need him to go back to like something approximating Blake Griffin in his NBA.
Well, yes, I also think people really underestimated
that lineup.
Yeah,
I think people really underestimated how much of Kyle O'Reilly's fans are definitely women, and so I do think that a haircut is in order. I will say it's certain wrestlers who the bad bitches really do gravitate towards. The elite are definitely some, and Kyle O'Reilly is one of them. You got to think women loved the Undisputed Era, like they did.
Yep.
So I do think it's nothing a haircut could.
If you want to do stereotypical boy band talk, he was the silly one. They loved his draws.
Yes, and so it's nothing that a haircut couldn't fix, but I would like to move in that direction sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Up next, we had Willow Nightingale.
Bobby was for the older demographic.
Listen, Bobby left his heart in that casket with Queen Elizabeth. Okay, everything stopped. World stopped for him. Okay.
Holy shit!
He's in mourning.
TBS title match, Willow Nightingale defeating Julia Hart in, just a demolition-like fashion. I was very happy to see this. I was, this was, on my wish list for a while. I was done with the
match or the result?
Oh, the result pretty much like
if your dream match was Willow Nightingale, it was a Julian Hart match. I don't know.
I was ready for it.
Be rude or anything, but I was like, this nigga is lying.
Yeah, I was
yes. But do you remember?
I just misspoke.
Remember when Do you remember when they brought Mark Henry ass out to do like the video package for one of the pay-per-view matches? I think it was Ruby Soho and Britt Baker, and he said, I think, this is the build up, this is the video package where people are talking about the match before they come out to the ring. He said, I think they had one of the greatest matches of all time. That was that kind of line. That not that level of line, like the one below. Like what
it made me think of is, you remember Tough Enough? Who was it? Camera, and they asked her what her favorite match was. She said Melina versus Alicia Fox. Yes, exactly. That's it.
I've been trying hard to keep Julia Hart out of the Liv Morgan division, which y'all know, like when so somebody gets over there with me, is like
she's too young to go. She's too young forever. She's too young.
Julia's better. I'm sorry. Liv is a better wrestler right now today, is a better in-ring performer. Julia has better prospects of not being a loser.
Correct.
Well, yes.
Because Liv Morgan will never win. And once again,
do we need to get to that now and then we'll go back to the match?
Sure thing. So last night, Monday Night Raw, I flew in from St. Louis. I was tired. I took my ass to sleep like around, I don't know. I was watching, Keek show with Lyric, and I went to sleep like, maybe like 9:45, something like that. I was tired. I had gotten news of this battle royal that was taking place, and and shout out to RJ Staggs, I believe, who sent me this tweet. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're about to, because it would come out that Liv Morgan was the betting favorite, supposedly, or rumored to win. And then he said, man, this is set up for Rich to just go crazy because she's going to win the title without pinning somebody. So, like, that just adds to the Liv Morgan will never win prophecy. But then an even better thing happened, James. She got to the final two and thrown out by Becky Lynch, the Four Horsewomen.
She didn't even get thrown out. She got dropped. She got dropped on the apron and she melted off to the floor like Velveeta in the microwave, bruh.
Correct. Their hopes and dreams died. All the stands. And it just made Liv Morgan will never win. One of the great quotes in the history of One Nation, a Hall of Fame like quote in the annals of One Nation Radio. Like, that's at this point, I'm not even arguing. This is it's like, don't debate me. Debate the data, what it says, like over here.
I do think that people have to realize that their idea of what should happen in wrestling is not what does happen in wrestling. And I feel like especially WWE fans keep deluding themselves with like the Iron Man of a battle royal, of like that final two. Oh, that means something big is coming.
It don't.
Oh, if it does, like let's go back to last year, right?
In a better ran promotion at times, it does. Sometimes
100%.
But we've had people like Kofi Mania, 2018, Seth Rollins in the gauntlet matches. If you run the race and you get further than anyone expected, you will get more over. But it's the rest. But you can't do that every single year.
Absolutely, and I think last year, let's look right. Both the men's and women's. Both Royal Rumbles, right? So, for example, Cody and Gunther ends up being the Iron Man. So I was like, well, there's no way he's not in the main event of one of these main events next year. Like WrestleMania 40, this should be the time that they crown the next star. Like that means that, if Gunther is runner up this year, that means that next year he's going to be the star, only to end up defending the same title against an opponent he's already had, not even at the top of the card. Same thing with the Women's Royal Rumble, right? Who are the final two? What was it, Rhea and Liv? Liv ends up going down?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, well, that means they got something for her. She was in the final two. I know that's right. Yes, bestie Slay. Amazing.
Sidelined.
Yeah, and then, bruh. And it's just like, oh, well, when she comes back from this injury, I know they have big plans for her. And you know what they do? They put a baseball bat in her hands. They add a little extra mascara and eyeliner to make her look a little spooky. And they never push her anywhere. And this is not my critique on Liv Morgan specifically. This is just my critique of, if you really want more for this girl, you're blaming the wrong people. You're upset at the wrong people because
they get other wrestlers as opposed to the.
You're mad at other wrestlers rather than like the people, like, because clearly they don't have.
Talk about Becky Lynch is just insanity to me.
No, like, sorry, a friend of the show, Tanya from Suplex and Shea Butter. She tweeted out that like there are a bunch of people that are like on this. The Horsewomen are like a terrorist act that have hoarded like titles and achievements from a generation of women's wrestlers. And I'm like, and then she pointed out like, you know, there's Bianca, there's Rhea, there's Alexa Bliss, there's Asuka they're all, you know, quote unquote, that did shit all in this run. I was like, I'll go a step further. During this whole, you know, Horsewomen run of dominance, which is really them being too lazy to say that Charlotte was the one that was overpushed. Like, Alexa Bliss was Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion for 445 days of a 490-day stretch. Out of 490 days, she was only not champion 45 days. What the fuck are we talking about? Who has redone this history and lied like this? Do we not see what happened to Bayley in our own fucking hometown facing the Alexa Bliss push? Strange, man.
I think it's also one of those things of just, how do I say? Oh, I don't think there's a good way to say this. Okay. I think that there's been a shift that has occurred specifically as it relates to that women's division. And I think that there was a time when they were bringing in these indie girls who genuinely wanted to be wrestlers. I feel like that's what the Horsewomen represent, right? Like, under that generation of bringing in girls who actually want to be wrestlers. And whether you like them or not, they each became superstars, megastars. And it was very organic because, like I said, they wanted to be wrestlers. And I think that a lot of times now when people are picking their faves or, you know, like, oh my God, I stan you. People are not choosing these girls because they're their favorite wrestlers. Yeah. It's because like they like what they look. Oh, she's so this, she's so that. Don't get me wrong. I love a good look. I love a good look. But like my faves look good and can wrestle. Respect. And I think that we've gotten away from that.
I've always been of the opinion of they all look good. They all like at this point they have something for something for everybody.
There's nobody ugly because guess what? Ugly women can't even get their foot in the door.
Right. That's my point's always been.
Everybody looks great. Because right,
this is Vince McMahon's company. Who the fuck? What woman's unattractive on his screen ever?
Absolutely, and like it sucks. It's not right at all. But a woman who is deemed not conventionally attractive, not getting her foot in the door. Period. And like, let's start there.
Unless you're China.
Well, yes,
because the heat was she's this big buff woman that can be that's getting heat for Triple H. That's it.
Even then,
and now like they have a roster full of stallions, and so like that is Triple H's MO. I want these tall muscle mommies who are beautiful and look like they can destroy you. That is what I want. That is what he has several. There's a full lineup, and I feel like a lot of people. They like to cast blame on the Horsewomen of like they take everything, etc. Blah blah. But let's look
good wrestling.
Let's look up and down that roster. Who is actually really ready? There's a reason why there hasn't been there's. It's not that they haven't tried to make stars out of them. Not saying. I'll be honest. Any of these attempts are not like particularly like mind blowing, but there have been attempts to create new stars.
Yeah,
it just hasn't always taken. Like you said, Alexa Bliss was hugely pushed. Got to a point where she was getting more push than Sasha Banks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and not at a point. The whole time. It was annoying as fuck.
So Alexa Bliss is one of those people. Who else ended up receiving some type of like obviously?
Oh, I mean, we right now. I mean, the Lacey Evans thing they tried to do.
They
tried. She couldn't cut the mustard in the ring over and over again. And I think that's also one of those things too. Black wrestling fans,
Carmella,
if they want something to work, If they want something to work, they're going to try everything. And black wrestlers do not get that type of, they don't get that type of grace, which is why Bianca Belair is so extraordinary to me, because she was the one who comes after that Four Horsewoman era. She doesn't have a wrestling background. And honestly, with her gimmick being as pro-black as it was, with one failure, she would have been out. She would have been done.
I think at worst case scenario, you can always flip that to a heel gimmick, and like they can play up the fans resent her because of exactly.
But here's the thing: you couldn't turn Bianca heel like that without asking for full-on unadulterated racism. We've never seen like her coming out in her Black History gear and having like literally "I'm Black" written on her ass. Like, I don't think that's the type of heel dynamic you want to enter, because it wasn't going to be pretty. And I think I don't
disagree, but I also don't think it would have been full on like New Jack either.
Well, no, I don't. But what I'm saying is more so of just like Bianca only had
her safety, her mental and physical safety. Yeah, we
only really had one shot to get this right, and like that's the reason why I do believe she's the most successful, truly, of the post Four Horsewoman era. She ran the gauntlet, with the girls. She had to perform at that level, and I just think people need to be honest. Do you think that some of your faves can have the matches, the match quality, the match significance and legacy that these women have had at a WrestleMania or a pay-per-view? No.
Well, I mean, outside of like four people, I say no. Linda, four people.
Outside of like four people,
yeah, it would be Io, Kyrie, Rhea, and Bianca. That's it. Unless I
wouldn't even put Kyrie up there as a singles wrestler. I would put Asuka up there as a singles wrestler.
Asuka, I forgot Asuka. That'd be the fun.
Yes, as a singles wrestler, because Kyrie on the main roster as a single star, she never really got to like take off.
They never tried it with her because Vince made her Asuka's pin eater. But I mean, like as far as like like the bell rings, you get the fuck out the way. We know her skill level is
exactly, and that's why I think the thing with Tiffany Stratton is so interesting. Because Tiffany is really good. Like, she's really good. She's gotten really good really fast. And it's just like, why is she not being monster pushed to the moon right now? Like, why? I've never really advocated. I rarely advocate for white women. But Tiffany Stratton deserves the Bianca Belair push that Bianca got back in when she won the Rumble in 2020 and like going straight to WrestleMania. Tiffany is one of them people who deserve that type of treatment. And I haven't been able to say that since Bianca. Tiffany deserves it.
Hey, I got a question. I watch her wrestle.
I'm just like, oh, she does really cool spots, but I don't think she can wrestle worth a damn between the music between the notes. And then, but like the thing is, like she can already do certain things that other women can't do, so that should make her special enough if you just nurture it.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying that bell to bell she's a ring general. She's not. Like she's still very new, very green, and she was also trained in a system to where if she ever had to leave it, she might not know what to do. However, she is showing more progress, and she has the highest upside of just like, okay, a year from now, I know she's going to be 10 times better than she is going to right now. 10 years, like 2 years from now, I know she's going to be 20 times better. Can we say that there's some people who've been on that roster, on that main roster for the past damn near 10 years, and people are still saying,
can we open this up
Liv
to
Morgan been around since
no?
Liv Morgan been around since 2017, Lyric.
And like here's the thing, I think Liv has a great personality. I think like she's so spunky. I think that she has a lot of great energy. And honestly, I've enjoyed some of her matches, but like saying that, just the implication that she's on horsewoman level, here's the thing.
It's categorically false. Like
it's crazy. And it's just like, it's one of those things of just like, you don't have to like Becky. I promise you don't. Like a lot of people don't like Becky. A lot of people don't like Charlotte. Some people don't like Sasha, right? That is fine. But we are talking about 4 women who quite literally changed the face of women's wrestling for this entire continent. Very few women are in their caliber And I'm going to be honest, most of the women who are not in that company. They're just not. They're just not. And the ones that are, they're not the ones that are your faves.
Just got a question from King of the North. He said, Rich, do you still have the list of Alexa Bliss's best matches? As a matter of fact, I do. That's the list.
I was just gonna say that match she had with Sasha. That's it. That's about it for me.
Not even needed. Not even needed.
Not even we're going to praise somebody for their little 3 1/4 star match.
I mean, you got it. I was trying to be nice about it, actually, but
look, as you said, we rarely praise what I want on this podcast.
Hey, I have buried Alexa Bliss for years on this show, so that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to keep Julia Hart out of that, that mode.
Julia has showed a lot of promise in a very short amount of time, and I think that the only mistake that was really made was her holding the title as long as she did. I think like that reign should have been probably a bit shorter, but at the same time, like for her age, she has been evolving. She's been showing growth. And like, I do think that it's cool to have women have more characters in wrestling. She's one of the only she's genuinely one of the only people in wrestling period who has done a spooky mist gimmick and has not completely turned me off. Like, and that is an accomplishment, because most people who have done spooky mist gimmicks in wrestling, I've hated.
I gotta say, like, since the last 5 years, unless you are Kagetsu, I have not given a fuck about you blowing mist.
No. I'm not saying like it's my favorite thing.
No, I'm with you. What I'm saying, like, so if she's done something to like make me, for that goofiness to make it work for you,
And I think even like, for example, like when she first missed at Willow, that was one of the first times I've ever seen mist used effectively to really advance the storyline, because I really loved the fact that she missed at Willow, but Willow is so pure that every week she just continues to fight past it, and she never let the darkness take her over. Mm-hmm. But Sky always had like that little like side of her. So yeah, it ended up taking for her. Like, I think that is just one of the most subtle uses of in-ring storytelling, rather than just like, oh yeah, let's end Bianca's historic match title reign of being the longest women's champion of the modern era with getting misted by Asuka in Saudi Arabia. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, man. So Willow Nightingale, the new TBS champion.
We talk about everything but the match. That lets you know how good the match was or wasn't.
Yeah,
specifically.
Yeah, in a squish, pretty much. I don't even want to say a squash here.
She got squirrels.
Yeah, so congrats to Willow Nightingale. Somebody's also took the long route. She was I remember that time she lost to Brandy Rhodes on AEW Dark.
Willow lost to everybody. Like, she lost to Jade 4 times. Like, she's challenged for this belt a lot, and I think that's why it was so special for her first championship to be this belt specifically, because we've watched her try and fail even before she was signed. And Willow is clearly, in my opinion, probably the best babyface in wrestling. Definitely like the best young, pure babyface, in the sense of just being just pure sunshine everywhere she goes. And I think she's very much similar to Swerve in the sense of she did the stuff that a lot of people weren't willing to do. She's always been dependable. And she's the person who's always had the trust of the company. Like, Willow is the only woman who's ever gotten that international experience of being able to represent AEW in New Japan, represent them at CMLL, represent them in Stardom. And so I'm very happy for her, but like,
Tokyo Doshi Pro too. Sorry.
Yes, she did TJPW too. Yeah. And so like, as we go into Double or Nothing, as excited as I am, I already know like people are it's about to get nasty. It's about to get disgusting. disgusting. And
two black women wrestling each other ain't gonna matter.
And yeah, and so much as I'm ready for the smoke, I genuinely hate that once she's going to even have to go through that. But I do think that people are underestimating her specifically. Like, Willow isn't just a flavor of the month or just an opponent for Mercedes. She is a legitimate cornerstone of that AEW women's division. And in my opinion, she's one of the most unique women's wrestlers in America right now. Like, there's nobody to compare her to in any other company. There's nobody like her. She is truly one of one. And so she's special. And I think that despite all the discourse, she's going to rise above it.
Yeah, I mean, where do we have her? Only behind Athena last year as far as Am WrestleMoman of the year? Bell to bell, Rich?
Yeah, no one else I can really think of.
Yeah. Super excited that she won a title. The first time I saw her, I was like, that's it. That is it. That is a special person. And I saw the reaction she had with the crowd. I was like, this is somebody that just came in here out of nowhere and like the crowd's behind her and she just because of the energy and the presence of positivity. And I was like, this is like New Day-ish without like it immediately being turned on when they first showed up. Is like imagine like New Day just showed up and then everyone loved them immediately as opposed to they had to work heel first and then get crowd love them. It was like that. Like this is like, unicorns and rainbows and shit. And it's like, this is really actually joyous. This is nice. This is fun. Is this what joy is? This is happiness. This is love. This is delightful. So yeah, I've always liked her. And then the match started happening. I was like, oh, she can actually go. Okay. Tony's assigned her for months. I was like, why the fuck did I only see her, these little shots here and there? Why is she not signed? And then she got signed. I was super happy. So like I'm very glad. And obviously, she gets in there with Mercedes and like I expected them to have a really good match once Mercedes gets cleared and all that kind of stuff because of the calibers they're on as wrestlers and the spotlight in the showcase they'll be given because of Mercedes and the time she'll be able to command because of the star power and also the dollars she has. She's getting from Tony Khan now. So yeah, I'm excited. I just want to see Willow, go out there and have some fun defenses up until it's time to do the thing, but it's going to be fun when they do the thing.
Yep.
6-man tag match. The House of Black defeat Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. Kind of party match here. I don't have much for you on. I do like this babyface team a lot with the three champions. Cope PNT title. Kingston has the New Japan Strong. Mark Briscoe with the ROH belt. Very kind of, three different looking guys all kind of coming together. But, they lost to the House of Black. Nah, it was what it was. I thought it was decent. I like Brody King a lot. But
this is a very good match. Y'all don't understand it because y'all got your boy in the shitter, but or in that doghouse. That's fine. It's a very good match. It sets up obviously Copeland and Malachi, which like I enjoy because I still like Malachi, even though like people have whatever their issue is with him for as far as him wanting to do jobs or not. But I don't care because like they're playing people that are carnies. So it is what it is. But yeah, this is a really good match. It sets up the eventual match between those two. And like, hey, somebody's gonna do a job. Yeah. I'll
be honest. This match, like, it was a match. It happened. Like, I really like the babyface team. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not anti Malachi Black. Actually, I just don't really feel anything towards him at all. Like, I just feel very apathetic towards House of Black outside of Brody and Julia. Like, they just, like, when I think House of Black, I think of those two. And I don't know, like, it just, I know that Malachi Black is a good wrestler. Same thing with Buddy Matthews. It's just like, they just haven't really connected with me. Like, I generally don't know anything else that's happening outside of that.
Because it's always it's always a start and stop shit with them because probably they don't want to do jobs. Like, exactly, Malachi came in, right? He did the stuff with Cody, he didn't stop, and then like he didn't really do programs with anybody else, and then he ended up in House of Black, and like, then he became, Collision started, and they were a tag team, and they faced FTR, and then that stopped because they did the fucking cage match or whatever, and it's like, it's always start and stop. Same thing with Miro. It's like, do y'all realize that if y'all are unwilling to do jobs, y'all will not be able to continue building roots in this company, and therefore people will care less and less about what you do? And it's like, if y'all don't want to do jobs or whatever else, don't want to do business, whatever else, and don't see the point in it, fine. But this was going to happen where, like, people going to look at you like, hey, bro, why? We know you talented and you ain't doing nothing. Get the fuck on then.
And I don't think they realize, like, I feel like it's going to get to a point, because I think some of them are locked in for, like, some much longer term deals. Like, it's not up this year or next year. I think they realize is that the more time that goes past and you're not doing anything for AEW, you're worth less to WWE when you finally are ready. Because the thing is, if WWE is taking somebody from AEW, as we've seen, they want somebody hot. Like, they want somebody like Cody, who is just on TV, and so you could debut him on WrestleMania, or Jade Cargill, who just dropped like a championship for AEW. If they're taking somebody from AEW, they want to make you feel, they want them to feel it, whether or not it's a big loss or not. They want to make you feel, even like Lexis King, despite how people feel about it, like they want it to matter. But I just don't think that not wrestling for 3/4 of the year for the next 3 years, I don't think that ups your stock.
It don't.
Yeah,
and it's so short-sighted.
Yes, and
given who we know, we know that Malachi knows and talks to, is like, you ain't figured this out yet.
And it's one of those situations of just, how do I say it? One, if everybody does not have two options, and I think that that's one of the things that we've seen arise in wrestling this year. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to bet on myself. I want to be this," and I'm all for that, right?
I bet you'll come back, ask for that job, QT.
But one, WWE, well, honestly, TKO, they're not giving out these Supermax contracts, and then two, Tony Khan is only giving out Supermax. You got to have work rate. Like, there's nobody getting paid to sit on the bench. Either way you swing it. And so I feel like some of these guys, they left WWE at a time thinking like, oh, like I'm always going to be welcome back. It's a whole different game now.
Right.
Especially with how money is distributed. TKO. The entire wrestling game in the next year is about to shift. With Raw going on Netflix, new AEW TV rights deal. If you think that people are earmarking funds for you to sit in catering but have these Supermax contracts, it's genuinely just not happening. And that goes for both companies.
Right.
It's not happening. And also, you're only getting older. Malachi, you have some injuries building up. Like, let's just be realistic here. Like, and to the point to where by the time your contract is up, you will have alienated AEW to not want to resign you, and WWE probably won't take you. And if they do take you, they're damn sure not going to make you a star. I think I look at somebody like Andrade, not saying like his WWE career is over or anything, but
it ain't looking good.
Listen, you went from being the star of the Continental Classic, of having these amazing, beautiful matches. You debuted in the Royal Rumble. Nobody knew you. We looked around the city. We asked about you, and nobody knew you. Your name flashed.
Never heard of you were from around here.
Your name flashed on the screen. No pop. Nobody popped. Nobody moved. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you've been slotted into multi-man, all ethnic tag team matches on WrestleMania. If that's what you were,
where they pull the bait and switch to get you in to begin with.
And then, like, also, that sucks for Dragon Lee. Oh, my God, that sucked for Dragon Lee. I felt really bad about that. But it's just one of those things of just, the grass ain't greener on the other side. Guess what? NXT Black and Gold don't hold the weight that it used to. Look at Adam Cole. Adam Cole has been humbled in AEW. What's an A?
His body.
Over there? Well, yes.
His body has been humbled.
What's an A? Over there is a B- in AEW. And also one of those things is just, I don't think that Adam Cole is a B-. But here's the thing. When you have a roster full of S-tier wrestlers, it makes the A wrestlers, Jay White is in the same predicament right now, right? Like, he's a star. But when you put him next to, how do I say it? A Chrysler 300 looks like a Phantom until a Phantom pull up.
Yeah. And also, like, we also gotta make some. I've been thinking about this also. Like, I don't know whatever happened to Juice Robinson. I don't know if it was injury or if
he's injured. I need him back.
Okay.
I need him back.
I didn't know if he was injured or if they sent him to sensitivity training for anti-Semitism. I didn't know which one it was. But it's like, he clearly, as a person that did NXT before, did New Japan, doing all those crazy, wacky shit and the Blue Brother stuff and all that kind of stuff, he clearly knew what the fuck he was doing and was doing a lot for Jay White that we didn't realize. And now it's just Jay White with the ass boys. It's like, oh, it's Jay White with the ass boys.
Bro, Juice is Bullet Club Gold. Like, he is the hype man. Like, and I think a lot of people, it's one of those things too. I think like with Adam Cole, right?
It's a perfect role. He was the wacky ass guy and Jay White could play the straight man and
always screaming. Yeah.
Right.
I think
another similarity, NXT, right?
Exactly.
You had Kyle. You had Kyle being wacky and shit, while Adam Cole was a straight man being like, bro, what? like when you have these, that's a reason of like why these factions, good factions, effective factions work, because like everyone brings something to the table to help legitimize somebody or set up someone's future, and they need Juice back in the worst way. And if you had told me when they showed up for Collision that like I was gonna be like Juice Robinson is a crucial point to one of the better like acts in AEW survival, I would have been like, nah, because I hated what he did in New Japan like since 2020. Juice
is truly like those early weeks of Collision. Juice was 100% one of the highlights every week. Yep. Like those first couple months of Collision, he was working every single week. He was Collision. And I think that's the thing. Some people are, like I said, until a Phantom pull up. And right now, AEW has about 6-7 Phantoms. And it's just like, y'all thought that y'all were him. And I'm sure somewhere else in another time you could be. But like, think about it. Adam Cole was supposed to be world champion by now. Now he may never get a shot again. Because where is he going to...
You know what? That's okay.
Where is he going to
He's never getting a chance. He can't. He's too brittle to trust. It is one thing when it's CM Punk and he's the biggest star in the company. Adam Cole's the biggest star in this company. And he getting hurt before you can put the belt on him. Nope. Can't do it. It'd be irresponsible.
It's one of those things of just like, people used to always be like, when are we getting our Malachi singles run? Miro singles run. These niggas are never touching the title again, guys.
Nope.
Because
it's over.
Guess what? Not only does AEW have veterans who are ready, they have young guys who are hungry. It even goes back to like MJF. It goes back to like MJF, right? Who is a controversial topic. But I feel like MJF's gimmick last year didn't really work because you are in the wrestling company saying, oh, I don't want to wrestle and I want to talk all day. Well, guess what? Over on the other channel, that's what they doing. They the world champion not coming to work either. And they only talking when they showing up. And it's one of those things to where Roman Reigns, that's his shit. You're 26 at the time. And like, I understand, like, you know, being safe and everything, obviously advocating for wrestler safety. But at the same time, you're not giving us anything that we can't get somewhere else. And so in the wrestling company, it didn't really, it didn't work as well last year. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think that that's going to work for him at all ever again. Because guess what? Max, if you want to have 20-minute promos on Dynamite and you don't want to wrestle, that's fine. Because guess what? Will Ospreay will give us 4.5 stars every week. If you what you won't do, somebody else will.
And I have promos as effective in a quarter of the time.
Literally. And I feel like Christian Cage was one of those people too, right?
Yep.
Last year.
Yep.
Christian Cage was probably the most consistent mic worker in AEW in 2023. And it's because Christian Cage is concise. He says what he wants to say. He sounds like he actually believes the crazy shit that he says. And he says it.
I mean, he be using facts. He be checking the obituaries.
That man be looking people dead in their eyes and be like, "Your daddy's dead. I fucked your mom, and you're gonna die." Like, what? That is kind of crazy. But at the same time, like, I think it's a lot of people on that roster need to look inward, and I think House of Black are some of those people. Of just.
Yep.
It's truly, it comes down to what you won't do, somebody else will. Everybody is hungry. And it's one of those things where AEW is presentation, spooky lore is not going to get you there. You got to get in the booth. It's strictly wrestling. That's how you win. There's no way around it.
You can dress it up however you want to. The main thing got to be the main thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what people, that are AEW, for whatever their background is, for whatever reason, whether they're theater nerds, they're from WWE, they think they're going to revolutionize wrestling with some shit that, like, they just didn't realize it's already happened before. Like, the main thing's the main thing. If you want to go to WWE, you can do the soap opera based stuff first, and then the reward, and then like the match is of little consequence. But in AEW, the matches are of consequence.
Yes.
And if the matches ain't hidden, your ass is not finna elevate. So, not even trying to make a pun on Will Ospreay, but you're just not finna. Yeah. No.
100%. And it's not even one of those things of just like, we're not talking about the result of the match. Like,
the performance.
At this point, it's not about padding accomplishments. Don't work here. Having long title reigns with no defenses don't work here. That doesn't fly here.
We'll start looking at you funny.
Literally, this is truly about performance. Match catalog is just as important as as a collection of titles or anything. Like, are you one of those people that we can trust when we go to the forbidden doors of the world? Can we trust you against New Japan talent? Can you hold your own in our Arena Mexico? And if you know that you're not willing to do any of those things, you're not going to be a top star. And I think that's the difference when we talk about tiering wrestlers. There's a difference between an S and an A, and a lot of places will be lucky to get one S tier wrestler. One. That's why WWE love Gunther so much, because they know that this is his little shit. This is his thing. I think they have two in the sense of him and Ilya. I would say two. But AEW has about 6, 7. And Miro, all them, the longer that y'all not doing jobs, Miro, Malachi, whatever, you fall further down the list.
Yep.
Because everybody else is getting better. Everybody else, the guys who know, and that's the difference too, the guys who knew that their game wasn't up to par, the ones who are actually smart, they're in the booth. Look at Shane Taylor. Like, Shane Taylor, a lot of people who didn't know who he was until that final battle match, him and JD Griffey versus Swerve and Keith Lee in 2022. And a lot of people didn't even know who he was, but he's taken every opportunity and got back on, literally constantly getting his face in front of these people, having these crazy matches. Is he losing? Absolutely. But I guarantee you one of these days he's going to get a win. Same thing with Lee Moriarty. He saw himself slipping behind the people of his generation, the Daniel Garcias and the Hooks. And Hooks. Like, he saw, and so it's just, people are hungry. Takeshita has not even been fully unleashed yet.
Oh,
he hasn't even scratched the surface. And y'all think you are politickers? You think you refuse to let me know? You know Kazuchika Okada?
The entire Callis family. The entire Callis family. Like,
that's one of the most talented groups.
Hobbs has gotten
the elite, the Don Callis family, and the BCC.
You could argue that Hobbs is a candidate for most improved wrestler this year.
Easily, absolutely, 100%. And because he's elevated his game.
He's gotten in the booth. He's out here. He out here having crazy matches. Like he has figured out, like, hey man, like I can't be Kenny Omega in the ring, but what I can do is be strong as hell and look mean as hell and be a hoss. And he's figured it out. It took it took time to get here, but we're here now.
I think
remember, it's a crime that he's challenging for the IWGP title, though.
I don't think it's a crime that he's challenging for it. Now, I don't think that it should have been a title match, but like, it's nothing to cry over now.
Same.
A lot of people are being a lot, but I do think the thing with Hobbs,
isn't the next offense Ren at Duntaku?
It is.
Yeah. There you go. What are we doing? And
they're just crying. Yeah. But I do think, like, when you think about somebody like Hobbs, I think for the longest time in wrestling, it's kind of like in basketball terms too. It was okay to just be one thing, right? So if you're a big guy, just be a big guy. Like, you get your shit, right? You're a high flyer, you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Technical wrestler, you do that. But like this AEW roster is so diverse and these styles are constantly fluid of just being monolithic is no longer good enough. Like you got to be able to move. You got to be able to be versatile. So if you're a big guy, it's not enough to just be a big man. Like, get your great Khali, like your 1-2, like, slams in. That's not good enough anymore.
Right. And I maintain as a person that says, unless you are the best of the best, anything before 1992, that shit always stunk. Big lumbering guy.
I will say,
don't take bumps, don't fall on his feet. That shit always sucked.
Most of the big guys who could move, they had a Japan run, and I truly feel like at that point, if you didn't have a Japan run during that time, you probably weren't that good. Like I think Andre the Giant, if you watch his stuff before, he obviously his
got way too big,
bro. His stuff from New Japan. Like the match he had with Stan Hansen, best 5-minute match I've ever seen in my life.
Josh has said that too. Yeah. Josh from Keepin It Strong Style has said that too.
Like hands down, best 5-minute match I've ever seen in my life. And I think Hobbs, like I said, it takes self-reflection. It takes introspection to be able to look within yourself and be like, this is what the top guys in the company are doing right now. And this is what I'm not doing. And be able to take an audit of yourself. And I think part of being a wrestler is about ego, because you have to believe in yourself and you do have to have confidence. However, a lot of people just aren't willing to do the work. I think because of people go, well, this worked over here, so it shouldn't. Why is this so different over here? Like, I'm gonna be honest,
different fans.
This is a different fan base, and this is a fan base that truly appreciates the slow burn. I know it doesn't seem like that because people complain on Twitter all day, but AEW fans for the most part love long stories. And you know what's a part of long stories? Losing. Yeah. You gotta lose. You gotta lose to eventually get that big win. Stories will be told, over the course of over the course of a year. Think about Hangman. Hangman is hotter than he's ever been since the Omega feud, and he's lost most of his matches. Right. Big matches.
The second he comes back, it's gonna be like the room gonna shake. The room gonna shake.
And as you mentioned, as far as the difference among the fans, like even the WWE fans want long form storytelling. Look what took the company took out the shit. Well, look what took the company out the shit. The Bloodline storyline. Like your mileage varies on how good it actually is, but people got invested in this long story.
And it's one of those things. Somebody said this in the chat, and that's just perfect. If Danielson, Hangman, Mox, Swerve, and Kenny Omega are willing to do jobs, no but one is too good to do jobs. Like, who the fuck are you? And also, Will Ospreay has laid down too a lot in New Japan. Obviously, he hasn't lost yet, but
it's coming.
It's coming because he is a guy who's willing to take a loss. Like, obviously, he's being protected right now, but it's just like, some of y'all really got the audacity that you can't lay down. Like you can't lay down. Especially, it's one thing if you're just asked a job, or one thing, but laying down knowing that you're going to get a win and probably a bigger win later. It's just like, I don't see what's the thing. Especially if you know that you haven't quite clicked with that fan base yet. You know what the fans want. You know what AEW fans are looking for. They love a good rags to riches story of somebody going from losing. Think about it. Willow lost almost all her matches last year from the second half of last year.
Look, and I know they know what the fans are looking for because they tapped in. Like,
absolutely.
I can tell you, they are tapped in and know what everybody's saying.
They know.
I just find it so weird. I just find it so weird as before AEW, the closest thing we had was NXT. And who were the guys that were getting over? Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano doing jobs on takeovers. And then they ended up being, where they were in NXT. And it's like, well, what makes you this isn't just an AEW thing. This is also the modern league of WWE as well.
You want to know what's the fuck out. But you want to know what's the difference though? Back then, I feel like, how do I say it? WWE is a lot more size focused.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
For smaller guys like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, I feel like they probably felt, and they probably didn't have a choice because if you trying to build like small guys to eventually like run this shit for WWE, it takes a lot to eventually get them to that level. And I think like for the guys like the Miros and the Malakis, the people who are, you know, just naturally gifted with size, like, you know, of just, it kind of feels like, well, we should be the heirs appearance of this shit. Like, we were born for this. I mean, it's some people who are genuinely born into a world champion's body. Like, they are just born. Now, some people, do they do world champion work all the time? That's right. It's a case-by-case basis. Yeah. But, like, one of those things is like Okada, right? Like, Okada is one of the best wrestlers to ever do it. Mm-hmm. But he was also born into a genetically gifted body from the very jump. Yeah. Same thing with King Omega.
So I'm glad you brought up Kazuchika Okada, because that's the last match that we had to discuss was Kazuchika Okada versus Pac, one of the James Boyd Bowls, you know.
Yeah, man. So this match was awesome. And like, this is why I always say, like, there are people that they may not be the best wrestlers in the world, or even if they are elite in skill, like, I can consider them a perfect wrestler. Like, Danielson is a perfect wrestler for another example of this, right? Like, they do what they do, and they do it as well as you can possibly imagine them doing it as far as execution and thought put into it. And for Pac to come out here and have this match with Okada, it's just like the pacing is so deliberate, and you can argue it's slow. I don't care. That's fine. The match is still fucking awesome. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's almost like, I can't even explain it, like, or articulate it well enough. It's like when you watch a basketball player that like a Paul Pierce that has like the old man game, and it's like, you can't speed them up, you can't do nothing with them. It's like you just can't force them. You can't force them to do anything they don't want to do. And it's like, it's just a metronome, and it's like, we're just gonna go tick, 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 and then, you know, 5 minutes later it's tick, 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 and then all of a sudden, like, you get to the end of the second act or the final act, and it's going at a different pace, and it's like, you appreciate that, like, they can wrestle in that way and still hold the audience's attention with solid wrestling, not anything outlandish or crazy. And it's like, this isn't anything that nobody else can do. We've seen plenty of people do it. They just do it at such a high level that it's like, they're just the best they're just the best at what they're doing. And then this includes Danielson as well with this, but it's like, they're just so impressive. For me, it's always impressive when I see them do their thing, because it's like, they're not out here, you know, doing the Jungle Boy thing or the Guevara thing. They're just out here just being just perfect wrestlers. It's amazing to me every single time. It's a magic trick, honestly. It's a magic trick.
It's almost like a high level, like a Princeton offense. So it's just like this machine that keeps like just turning around. Like, they might miss a shot or whatever, but they will run the same thing over and over and over and over, and then find whatever they need to exploit on, you know, a particular possession or whatever. But, you know, I saw these guys working on this match like all day to my left. Like, they were in the same hallway as me. So I was like, you know, I can't tell what the hell they're doing, but they're just like,
how is it? How, well, I don't know if it's inside the stream, but like, how is communication back and forth? Is like, was there like a Nakazawa that play a middleman?
Nah, they were talking to each other.
Okay. Listen, I know Okada speaks English, but I don't know how well the English is.
Listen, also, Pac's English, is it really English? Like, I don't know what they was talking about. Like, it's just Pac's English, and like, I will say,
it was funny. Pac was dressed
Pac's
like,
English and Ospreay's English are two different. Like, they speak two different English, and it's still different than my English.
Yes.
Hey man, Pac pulled up wearing a khaki suit and some Air Maxes, like that man was hanging out with Jason Taylor or whatever. It was hilarious.
About this match, I think this one, it was amazing. And I think that for people who don't watch New Japan, this was the first taste truly of the full Okada experience. If you're not familiar with Okada, listen, he's used to wrestling 20 minutes minimum every night. Like, it take about 20 minutes, at least 15 for him to get out of full gear, one gear for real. Yep. And that's just Okada. He's used to long form match style. So this was the first time in AEW he was really able to do that. And I think he's killed this AEW run. And I think to do it without not even fully knowing the language, this is the best that I've ever seen a Japanese wrestler portrayed in like presented in my lifetime on a major American product. And
probably.
And I think, how many times have we ever seen the Japanese character be infused as a heel without having this crazy foreigner gimmick, invasion gimmick? Like this feels very organic. It feels very fitting of somebody of his stature. And it really hit me that Okada is likely going to be the first Japanese world champion. And like, I know we talk about the first Black world champion and stuff like that, but that is going to open so many doors and it's going to change the world. Because you have to think, I even did the math in my head. The only person who's ever done it is technically Antonio Inoki winning the WWE championship, which ends up not even being recognized in the history books. And, you know, they didn't even admit that on TV until he died. And so Okada, whether he's in New Japan or not, he will always be a representative of New Japan and fighting spirit and that legacy, that Inoki legacy. And it just hit me like he's going to do it. Like he's genuinely going to do it. He's going to be the first Japanese world champion, and it's going to be great. And it's going to hopefully, in my opinion, change the course of international relations in wrestling. But this Pac match, this was just a dream match. Like as a fan, like I can't believe this happened. I can't believe we watched these two wrestle each other. Pac does not get the credit he deserves sometimes. I think it's because like with the injuries, like we don't see him consistently all the time. And obviously with his travel schedule, but man, this was special. And also Kazuchika Okada is the best emoter in wrestling. Like he doesn't have
really
to
took over the match.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to know the language because he's so good with his facial expressions and his body language, and he's amped it up ever since he's been in AEW. Like when he did that DDT on the outside and started giggling, that audience was horrified. They said, "Oh my God, who are you?" He
was messing around with the first couple rows, essentially like, watch me do this, essentially like
that Rainmaker pose with the middle finger. It was crazy.
Unglued.
It was look,
that's the work of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson.
It 100%. It was excellent. As an Okada, as a New Japan Okada guy, I hated it. Just because not because it was great. It was great. Me personally is like, when he came in, I did, and they turned him heel to me. I was like, I don't want this shit. And they're doing great with it. They're like, it's so much better than I ever would imagine it being. Like, they're doing a great job with it. Me personally, as a guy that wants to root for the fucking guy, is like, God damn, why you gotta be so good being an asshole now? Damn it. I want to do this, man.
But see, that's the difference between me. I'm an elite stan. Like when it's like the lower that they go, the higher on them I get. No. I am cheering so hard.
I enjoy when Nick and Matt do it because that's Nick and Matt by nature. Okada, when Okada's a dickhead, I like Okada's dickhead when he's holding a belt, stomping people's hopes and dreams out, saying, "No, you will not climb this mountain," and telling their fans the same thing. Tetsuya Naito, or when he's beating up a whole generation of the next generation of Japanese main eventers, and he leaves and says, "I'm not putting you over until it's time for me to come back and beat you again, and then I'll put you over." Like that's the heel Okada I like. Him just coming out here wrestle Eddie Kingston and then kick him and then hit him with a Rainmaker and then kick him in the dick and rake him in the eyes. And like, I thought I was thinking more, I thought like him being petty is a better way for it, but like whatever. This is great. Like, this is great. I just wish that I could have Okada in the way that I used to watch Okada, where it's just like he's a heel because he's just the best. Now at this point, like he's a heel because he's in America and he's getting the heat and he's with the Young Bucks. It's like let the Young Bucks do that. You just do you.
Well, I disagree.
Don't let them little dudes influence you.
In my opinion, truly, I think the reason why I love it so much is because it feels so natural. It really, especially in his last year in New Japan, he really was a dick. Like, let's just be the way that he treated the under 30 population was disgusting. He disrespected them in his company.
Loved it.
He disrespected them in other people's companies. I loved every second
of
it.
Whooping Kaito's ass. Whooping Kaito's ass.
Absolutely. And it felt like every time he was being this face, he didn't want to do it. You know what? Great point. All together again, right? So all together again when they did it last year. And actually, no, not even all together again. Last year, Wrestle Kingdom. And obviously, it was in honor of Antonio Inoki, who had recently just passed. So obviously, the event was going to be in his honor. And so they, I remember they did an interview with Okada, and they were like, yeah. So, Mr. Inoki, obviously, you know, you are essentially like the heir to this, and are you going to do the 1, 2, 3 die at the end? You know, get everybody together. He said, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even really know him like that. I really don't want to do it. I really hope somebody else can do it. And when I saw him actually doing it at Wrestle Kingdom, I said, he doesn't want to be here, guys.
He showed how much he wanted to be here a year later when he left.
He said, I don't want to do this. And even at All Together again, you know how he gets, he was considered the leader, have to do like these roll calls. He didn't want to be there. The way that he treated his tag team partners, he didn't even acknowledge them because they came from other companies. He was like, who are you? I've never heard of you before, actually.
Right.
The way that him and Keno was...
New Japan Pro Wrestling is the Olympics, and they're JV.
Absolutely.
He told us that years ago during the Noah shit.
It's funny, though, now, because I truly believe that All Japan is a better product than New Japan now. 100%.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That right now, 100%. Now, in the past, it was like that. It was very much JV. But while New Japan was sleeping and not preparing for their future, other places were. And All Japan is on top of the list.
I mean, I don't imagine it being too hard to outbook Gato at this stage of the game.
You know, hey, listen, you do got a point. It's not hard. It's not hard. But I will say,
check out FOH from what year did I unload on Gato?
Year.
Oh, yeah, last year's FOH. Fucking guy, Jesus.
All Japan is like really functioning at a high level. Like Noah is still Noah. Like, you know, Noah's still Noah. And
I only check in to see what Kaito or Keno's doing. That's it.
Yeah.
Even Ninja Mac can't get me in.
Ninja Mac's going to be in the best Super
That pay-per-view is going to be really good. That pay-per-view, that Wrestle Magic show, is going to be really good. I'm excited. Ninja Mac is Shuji Ishikawa.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's what else? And who else is on there? Kaito versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr.
Okay. And then also they got that 8 women's tag, right?
Yeah, the Marigold women's tag.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Sakurai finna die in that match.
Listen, I will say, we can't even get into Rossi today. We don't have enough time, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation.
But I did want to bring up the reception that Pat got as he left. The crowd was chanting like, he's our bastard. And I think that was like kind of this.
He's retiring?
Nah, he wasn't retiring, but like he was like, you know, it was like, hey man, like they really appreciate this guy. Like, and it was like under that hard exterior, it's like we just want him to love us back. That's what it felt like.
I think, you know, Pac does feel unappreciated sometimes. Like, you know, and it's just like, whether you accept the love or not, we're going to shower you in it. Because I think especially, he's one of those wrestlers. I remember watching him as Adrian Neville in NXT and just feeling like he was so misunderstood. And like, I felt like, kind of like with Athena, you know, of just, because of his size, they slotted him in as this high flyer. But it's just like, have you seen this guy? He can do so much more. He's a brawler. You know, like he can do so much more. And it just feels like he finally found a place where he could do so much more. And then like injuries sometimes have kind of like, you know, held him back. Like he's one of those people who I feel is one of the best wrestlers ever to never win a world championship. And like, I don't know if that's in the cards for him at this stage of his career, but that is one world title run. I don't care if it's short or not. I would really love to see eventually. I would really love to see Pac win the big one. And I think that that's one of the cool thing about the AEW roster of like, yeah, you have your top guys who are always in the mix, but there's still some guys kind of on the auxiliary who may or may not, you know, get slotted in every now and then. And I feel like Samoa Joe was one of those people, which gives me hope that, you know, maybe we do one day get like, you know, that 2-3 month Pac run. As world champion, you know, he could be an actual transitional champion, like y'all like to say.
For sure, man. I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Sorry about y'all questions. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about y'all questions, but it's not every day the world champion calls in unprompted. But maybe we'll set something up with Lyric. And
do people ask stuff specifically?
I believe they did.
Oh.
So maybe we'll figure out another show, and we can get to those. But I am doing an appearance this week on the Ringside Club on Thursday live around 9 p.m. So look out for that link. But I want to thank Lyric for joining us, and this is a marathon show, and being so generous with her time. Please, feel free to come back, anytime you want. Please drop all your information and plugs for the One Nation Radio listeners to show you support.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lyric Wrestling, and you can subscribe on YouTube, just my first and last name, at Lyric Swinton. I hope to have some really interesting stuff coming out soon, but that requires me to get over my writer's block, but I will do it. I am committed to doing that this week. But thank you for having me. I've wanted to do the show for a long time, and so it's very few people I'll stay up until 1:13 a.m. on like a weeknight. But there were some things to say. There was some business that needed to be stood on, and so life happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate you. Hopefully, we'll get you back again. For y'all listening, watching from the stream, you can go to our show notes in the podcast, and you can donate there at the Rose Circle link. And be sure to check out the other shows on the network besides One Nation Radio. You have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Imps WWE Adventure, Wrestle Art with Chris Things, Tunnel Talk, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
One more thing. One more thing. New One Nation Radio merch being in development right now. I opened up my music merch store. It's onelifetimeworldwide.com. Check that out. We're going to have, own our designs. We're going to have hoodies on there. We're going to have bags. We're going to have, the unisex big tees, all that. So we're just, in the design process.
Will there be ski masks?
There will be bucket hats.
You gonna get a purple one and shit.
Hey, listen, if y'all making shiesty, seriously, I that's different.
Look, if we can find out, how to do it.
It don't hurt to see if it's available.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be cold. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Look, I would do the podcast in the shiesty.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.